What is up? Welcome back to another episode of the FNtasia podcast. And boys, I unfortunately have some bad news to start this podcast. One of the GOATs is flirting with retirement. Bugha, last night, he tweeted an ominous GIF. Can we get the GIF up, Courts? Producer Courts, let's get it up. For audio listeners, we'll do our best to describe this GIF to you. It is a character from, I believe, Adventure Time.
Mm-hmm.
And he's holding a mug, and he looks sad. That is
ominous. You said it right. You said it right to start with. It is ominous.
Yeah.
Depressing.
Yeah.
It almost is cooking up the end of an era, some may say.
Right.
Is this what FNtasia's come to? Like an English fucking lesson where we're like hyper-analyzing an image? Like, how does this, what is this invoking you in terms of your feelings there? I don't know, man.
The contrasting yellows and blues. Ooh, the dark background. Ooh,
it's Dignitas colored. Wait a second. Hold on. Yellow and black.
You guys are memeing here, but this is important because, you know, last week we had a conversation about the GOAT debate and that situation. And I think a lot of people were, surprised that we gave Bugha as many flowers as we did. But Reese, you were here. If you remember how we wrapped up that conversation, we talked about how when you look at the big three, Miro, Bugha, Tayson, all of them, you could argue, have been having a downwards trajectory. Miro looks like he's just retired now, like he's not been playing the season. It looks like he's just out, at least until he comes back in typical Fortnite player fashion.
Yeah.
If now Bugha's getting the idea of, you know, leaving, retiring, and for people saying, yeah, but it's just a give. In the comments, you know, people were like, is this a retirement teaser? And he said, I'd never leave, which implies he's thinking about leaving to some extent, but not leaving. So again, this is it's weird because Bugha's still like competitive. That's the one thing that we all have sort of said about him when you compare him to the other big three, right? At least in the past year, it was like he's still like flirting with being in like top fives in every FNtasia and whatnot. Has he finally reached a point, and I thought he would have reached this point earlier, to be honest. Has he just reached a point where he's like, I just have too much money. I don't care about this anymore. Like, what is this? Why is Bugha flirting with the idea of retirement?
It happens to almost everyone as soon as they get cash, right? As you mentioned, I'm quite surprised, say for Bugha, that it didn't happen earlier, right? We hit the big 3 mil jackpot early on, and you're like, right, why am I still doing this? Like, what's the point? What's the point in staying here? I can set myself up. But I guess from like a lot of players, especially in like early 2019, or players like him, right? You know, the game was still new. You haven't played it out for that long. You haven't been dragged down by like this not winning and being the GOAT over and over again, right? It's like, I'm sure for a lot of these players, it just drags on you eventually. So now he's kind of at the point where you're like, I have all this money. Maybe I'm not enjoying the game that much anymore. Like, I maybe have other opportunities to try and sit and make money in instead. And why put myself through this if I'm not enjoying it when I have success elsewhere already?
To be fair, when he also made his millions at the start, like he was the go-to guy when it came to like sponsorships. Like, you want a gaming guy? There's Bugha, you know? Yeah, you got your AT&Ts, you got your whatever the fucks. Now those opportunities are probably dried up a little bit more. I'm seeing, you know, a lot more of those sponsors going to Peterbot, you know? North America's got his new superstar, maybe, you know? Peterbot's being paid like $50K to promote the Gladiator on his YouTube channel, apparently, from what I've heard. So like, you know, that money is going away. And as usual with current Fortnite players, they've all gone into trading virtual meme coins that have no inherent value, but actually make you a few $1,000s easily, or if you Bugha, a few $100,000 probably.
I think this actually shows a really interesting trend from Fortnite players, and this is kind of something I see all the time. And I saw it when like maps came out, and you could start making money from UEFN as well. And it's like, and this is something we know. This is not rare, but a lot of the Fortnite players who are the best are really just here just to get a bit of cash and then piss off, right? Like, you know, where is the passion? Where is the love? Where is the competitive spirit? Nowhere out there. It's just to get a couple bucks and go. So as soon as something else comes around, like meme coins, where some of the players who maybe aren't like the tier ones, who are some of the players who are like, you know, making a little bit of money, you'll see them in grand finals and stuff, but they can actually make good money in doing something else. They're like, they're just gone. They've just vanished. They're out of here. They're into the ether.
But you know, you say that, and I agree, because like most of the actions of these players suggest that. But then, like, you talk to some of these guys, and you're like, no, a lot of these guys really want to win. In Bugha's case, right?
Sorry, I don't want to.
It's fine. In Bugha's case, right? Global story for you guys. After globals, we're in the hotel, everyone's leaving, and I'm talking to him about like his options for next year. And in that moment, he's talking to me, and I could tell he was like, I want to win. I want to grind. Like next year, just give me 2 people who are like ready to grind, and I want to win. Now, there's a good chance that a lot of that was the typical post globals talk, right? Like every player, I think, is quite emotional after globals and wants to have that feeling of winning. And he's tasted it before, right? Winning on land. I'm sure he wanted it back. But in Bugha's case, you know, it'd be interesting to see what him, because he did say, I'd never leave. Like, I wonder what that looks like for Bugha. Does he actually finally now commit to doing content? That's one thing that like he's always done, but it's always felt a bit half-hearted. Like he could have done way more with content. It's always felt like, so maybe does he commit more to that and keep it a bit more light? Mirror actually replied to his tweet saying 1 more legacy run. Does he just like the Savage route where he just plays with someone for fun, right? Because, you know, last year, that's all we were ever talking about. It's like Savage could easily get a better team than Mongrel, but he plays with Mongrel because he enjoys it more, right? Does Bugha maybe go in that direction? It'll be something that's really interesting to follow. Regardless, though, I think something that is very clear to me is I don't want to see Bugha leave or retire. So I hope he gets that idea out of his head. Especially when he can still compete. It's not like some other guys where you're like, he's a washy boy. He can actually still do good.
I think a lot of the people who say, you know, I'm still going to be around, I think if maybe trying not to read too much into this, but the hinting that he's doing is like, I'm not going to quit. Like, I'm going to still play tournaments. Like, it's not that time commitment, but I'm not going to put in the grind. I'm not going to work. I'm going to get as good at teammates as I can. I'm probably going to cause some snaking ins. I'm still Bugha at the end of the day, but my effort is not going into being like the best Fortnite player. And I think, you know, what you're talking about is you go to globals and you see the best players and they're all like super motivated. They really want to grind and all this kind of stuff. And that's, as you mentioned, great when you're in an arena environment and you've just not won. But then you go back and do the monotonous, boring things, like grinding every single day. And then you're like, nah, I don't want this that bad. You know, and I'm like, you know, that one day I really wanted it. Right now, for the 364 other days that I need to try and want it, nah, maybe not so much.
I do wonder if there's a bit of mortality here associated with it. And it's sort of like, a lot of these guys came into this game and you think, you know, you can play Fortnite, you can get generational wealth. You know, and as prize pools have dwindled a little bit more, now they're pretty good. You know, you can see some people make a shit ton of money every week if you're at the top. But a lot of these guys, you know, they're probably not making as much as they used to. So like, they're seeing things outside of their environment. They're seeing like all these ex-Fortnite players making like $500,000 in a year by trading or doing this in map maker, doing something else. And then all of a sudden, you're thinking like, yeah, but like, why do I even do this at this point anymore, right? Like, why would I settle for a mediocre $25,000 a month? Ugh, disgusting. When I could be making $100,000 a month. And at the same time, I think him saying like, I'm not leave is slight bit of maybe a bit of insecurity there, or not insecurity, but like a bit of a scaredness, because like maybe he doesn't want to like fully commit to it just in case like it doesn't work out for him, and he wants that option. So he's probably still in Dignitas, still probably gets paid very well being in Dignitas and all the sponsors things. So he still wants to have that opportunity open, but at the same time he's looking around and seeing, you know, maybe there's something more I can do right now, because this, I mean, realistically, Peterbot's made Bugha retire. Like, he's just so fucking good that Bugha's like, how can I compete with this guy, man?
That's a line I was not thinking we're going to go to there.
Is he paying you for PR, Peterbot? Because you keep like referencing Peterbot next to Bugha. It seems like there's like a clear like motive here.
I mean, I'd like to announce my managership for Peterbot. I've been seeing the lack of content. The YouTube channel is down. He's not uploading as much. I decided, you know, I'll take a measly 25% of all of his earnings just to manage that man.
We're going to make Peterbot the best YouTuber,
the greatest Fortnite player of the world.
Hey. We're
gonna build him up.
in all seriousness, he likely just lost a lot of money on a meme coin and so was sad and made this tweet. And like, this has nothing to do with Fortnite, you know? But we like to extrapolate and bait you all in for the views. So now you listen to the rest of the podcast, hopefully.
You clicked on the thumbnail. Gotcha. Sad Bugha crying thumbnail.
Please watch the rest of the episode. Please, I'm begging.
The next 10 minutes is us going to be you begging for you to stay for the remainder of the hour. So if you actually want to stay, skip the next 10 minutes.
No. Wait.
So simple basically.
All right. Well, what we are actually going to do for the next 10 or so minutes is beg you to watch the next episode of the podcast. Because next week, again, we are going to be doing the FN Comp Awards. Essentially, it's an award show that we will be hosting this year where we give out awards to some of the best and biggest people in the community based off of what we saw happen in 2024. An amazing year for competitive in 2024. The Comp Awards are run by Somebody's Gun, so shout out to SPG. Again, I need to get the Twitter. I made this mistake last week, but I have it up here. Comp Awards FN on Twitter. Check them out. Voting is open now. So a lot of people are asking in the comments of the last episode, how do we vote? Voting is open, so you can vote. Head to the website. The polls are open. Vote now. What I wanted to do this ep is take a look at the different categories. Take a look at the nominees. We're going to talk about some of them. Give some insight into who we'd vote for. We actually are on the panel of voters, for the people wondering. So we've, put in our votes already, but we'll try not to spoil them, but we'll at least talk about where our heads are when it comes to voting. And hopefully, if you're watching at home and you're thinking, well, I don't know who I'd vote for this category, I don't know what to think here, hopefully this discussion we have will help push you in a direction of some sorts. Or maybe you hear us talking like, these guys are waffling, I'm going to vote for this person instead. Whatever you do, just make sure you vote and be here for next week when we give out the winners of these awards.
So the US elections. Go vote, guys.
Yes.
Go out.
Go vote. Guys. Come on.
Your vote matters.
Hopefully our turnout is better than the actual US election, eh?
Yeah.
All right, first things first, Player of the Year. The nominees are Peterbot, Hoyo, Cold, and Queasy. What do you think of this?
It's a hotly contested category. I feel like when we give the award, when we show, and like who's won, I feel like we have to also show a percentage of results. And anyone who doesn't vote for, we're not here to influence your votes. That would be illegal. Right. But anyone who doesn't vote for the obvious answer here, I feel like we should name and shame them, and we should just basically remove them from the community because they don't 100%. Know anything.
I think when it comes to the panelists, I'd expect that when it comes to the panel vote, Peterbot would be the unanimous winner here.
You'd hope Queasy is the obvious answer too,
Yeah. What do you say, Pete?
I said you'd hope so, right?
Well, yeah.
There's a few biased amongst us. There's a few people that thought Peterbot might not make globals, this year. So maybe they have slightly different intentions with this voting system, but we will ask SBG and we will name and shame every single panelist that does not vote for Peterbot. Even though that's not like a biased thing.
So I think because obviously there's not really much to say here when it comes to the winner, because I think it's quite obvious. Is there anyone here that's you think has been snubbed? Anyone who should have been nominated, who hasn't been nominated, and just general thoughts on the other nominees for this award?
I was thinking through, and I was actually trying to think of anyone who has been snubbed. I'm sure there is. I think the Poyo and Queasy make sense. I was trying to think, is there anyone who's done better than Cold? Because Cold obviously did really good when it came to the 3 FNCSs, but then Globals was a bit of a dud. I think it was like 25th, 26th or something like that. Yeah. I was thinking, out of all the people of the year, like has he been one of the players of the year? And then I was thinking of like Vico. What did Vico?
Vico had a stinky. It was like half with pink, and then he won 1-1.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Well, so Vico's year contextualized maybe looks a bit better, and we'll talk about it in the next category into what EU player of the year. But yeah, Vico, you would say on paper probably didn't have the best year.
Sure, and then
compared to Cold, at least he had a good year, obviously, but like compared to Cold, maybe.
Maybe see compared to Cold, I would put a guy like probably Swizzy higher. Obviously, he's a EU player, but when you consider his like FNC's globals placing 10th for the Yapco rather than playing with his like actual duo, and then the really good run he had through the rest of the year, I think that'd probably be in my eyes better than the Cold run. Outside of that, I don't know. No one comes to mind that's been snubbed. Honestly.
I mean, realistically, we have 2 of the duo here, and then we're missing one of the duo with Queasy. Surely if Queasy's here, surely Thomas is there because they have the exact same placements. Minus, I think Thomas won a Cash Cup and then went to Saudi, which is what he has over Queasy in that sense. But also Queasy, I think, also won a Cash Cup with Pixie this year. I feel like Queasy and Thomas are pretty even on that sense. And then I guess surely Cord is worse placed than Thomas this year. No. I don't follow completely.
Just when I said it there, I think Cold's biggest problem is the globals. Globals hurt. So
Yeah.
I think during the FNCS, his placements are really good. Like it's
First, fifth, and third. Yeah.
First, fifth, and third is phenomenal. He obviously played.
Yeah.
In fact, actually, no. Okay, this is really important because we easily forget things that happen in FNCSs all the time.
Yes, we do.
It's so far. But actually, you have to remember, in 2 of those FNCSs, so he won the first FNCS cold, right? They won, and he was really good. In the next 2, didn't he have like the best day 2 performances we've like ever seen? Because I remember this major 2, they had the crazy comeback.
The brutal beach season, yeah.
They had the crazy comeback, and that was crazy considering the first day. And I think they had a really good comeback as well in major 3, if I remember correctly. I'm pretty sure they did. Yeah, because it was Veno and Clicks that did really well day 1, and it was Acorn and Cole that did a really good day 2, and then obviously Peter and Poyo did consistently good across the 2 days. But then Globals hurts him. So I don't think anyone got snubbed for this one. I think it's maybe the thing with Thomas, I think that like sways me more in Queasy's direction. I find like the IGLing performance of Queasy a bit more impressive. Like I look at the situations they were in as a team, and I like you look at Major 2, triple cons, still managed to cook up an amazing strat for them where they can top 10, and probably could have done even better than top 10. Queasy was one of the few players that obviously had the really good Storm strat. I know he credits iDrop a lot for that, right? But he was one of the few players that had the really good Storm strat and knew how to use wings. And then obviously in Major 3, well, I can't remember. I think they done in Major 3, right?
Yeah, was that their? Yeah, that was their not so good. Was that the triple?
And context is important with that one as well, right? Because they would have done good if Epic didn't remove cactuses like a week before Grand or whatever, right? So it was like he had them a good trio from the north in that season where everybody in the south was like looking really good, and then unfortunately got screwed by Epic. And then at Globals, they went in that spot that a lot of people laughed at, and they pushed the best duo ever.
Second,
the last game. So
which is really good.
I felt Queasy, I'd give him the edge just for that if I was to give one of them the edge.
I would too, yeah.
Especially you look at the impact of the 2 players. You're like Queasy, full game plan, IGL, and put them in the positions they need to be. Thomas just hitting fucking bangs with a pistol. I'm like, both are obviously important, but I think they work together in that way. But obviously, I think Queasy's role is also probably more important too.
Yeah. EU Player of the Year, Swizzy, Vico, Thomas, and Queasy, the nominees for this one. Again, all of those players we sort of already just discussed there. Who do you think probably takes this award if you had to guess?
I gotta go Queasy, surely.
Yeah, the only one
because of everything we just said.
Yeah.
The only one on Player of the Year is Queasy on this as well. So yeah, I think it's Queasy as well. I mean, I've done a breakdown before of like the placements on average, and like Queasy's year has been by far better than all 3 of those. Obviously Thomas is slightly closer by, but Queasy had that one Cash Cup win that puts him over Thomas in terms of the overall like rankings of 2024. So
yeah, and like a lot of people, I've seen people because the panelists like have discussions in like Discord, right? There's a Discord for the panelists, and like I saw people doing this whole like, yeah, but Thomas had like EWC.
Yeah, we don't care about that.
Yeah, we don't really care.
I'm not saying I don't care about that. Like,
I don't care about that.
Okay, fair. I respect that, to be honest with you, if I'm being honest. But that to me, I'm not weighing that how people are weighing. Like, I saw people using it, but like, obviously Thomas is over Queasy because he played with Queasy and then he did the EWC. But yeah, I was like, no, not for me personally.
Yeah, I was going to say that's the same thing. You could have basically, but Thomas is really good in ballistic. Like, who gives a fuck, man? Just like we're talking about battle royale build here,
Yeah. It would be interesting if Queasy. Now that I didn't actually notice that Queasy's the only one in the Player of the Year. So if Queasy doesn't win the Player of the Year, something fishy's happened there.
Something feels wrong there.
Something fishy's happened there. NA Player of the Year, the nominees are Peterbot, Poyo, Cold, and Bolts. Bolts getting in there based off of the amazing end to the 2024 year that he had.
Yeah.
Do you think that's fair for Bolts to get in there? Do you think anyone else in the NA maybe should have snuck in ahead of him?
The Acorn obviously probably should have.
Acorn always gets left out.
I know. It's kind of the opposite of what people think when we're talking about of the analysis we had with Queasy and Thomas, where we're talking about all the IGL and putting the player in the good positions, what really matters, and then when it comes to Acorn and Cold were just like, yeah, but it's cold, you know.
Right.
So yeah, Acorn's probably been snubbed there. And Bolts has had a great year, but he didn't top 5 in anything. Or any like FNCS grands, and obviously he's had like a crazy, Cash Cup couple of seasons, and obviously it's been an insane year for him in terms of the come up.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's not been into like a top 1 or top 4 slot at all. If he's not placed top 5, he can't be top 4. Let's put it that way.
Go on, bro.
The interesting thing about the Cold thing is that when we mentioned Cold in Player of the Year, Leven was like, yeah, Cold also had that crazy comeback in day number 2. No Acorn was mentioned in that.
Just because I was just saying it because
I know.
Right?
But that's just funny, just like how often Acorns get just left out. I was like, dude, Cold's has been crazy, man. It's such a good year this year.
No, Acorns had a crazy year as well. And to be honest, one thing that doesn't get talked about is, if we're being completely transparent, I don't think Cold would mind me saying this. The reason they flopped globals is because Cold was sick. If Cold isn't ill, they probably do a lot better. So like Acorn actually is unlucky. Like Acorn's year looks worse because of something that was out of his control. They probably do much better at globals. But yeah, Cold is, wakes up feeling terrible. Still walks out ice cold though, right? You got to respect him for showing up.
Bro looked like shit, to be fair.
He looked like utter shit, but respect him for walking out. And I think another thing that people don't know, maybe they do, maybe Cold has said this publicly, but he actually didn't want anybody to know he was ill until after. So on the broadcast, when we're talking about them, like we all knew he was sick and almost didn't actually make it. Like there was a point where they were like, didn't know if he was actually going to show up. And Acorn might have been playing solos and shit. And like he said like, hey, I don't want you guys to like talk about that. Do you know what I mean? Like, so we weren't leading with the excuse. Yeah, like they didn't want to lead with the excuse, etc., etc. So, no, fair respect to Cold and Acorn because they had a great year.
Of course.
Yeah.
Also, when you use the words, he almost wasn't going to make it in reference to someone being ill, the thoughts that come to mind are that they're going to die.
Make it to the venue for the Global Championship. Yeah.
Wasn't that bad, yeah.
Yeah. All right, looking at some of the different regions, Player of the Years, we have BR Player of the Year, Emmy Player of the Year, OC Player of the Year. In Brazil, the nominees are 916 Gon, Phaser, King, Philip Zera. Obviously, King and Phaser had an interesting year because they started the year in EU, then went back to Brazil. 916 Gon, obviously, with the global situation in playing with Conti was a really funny one. In Middle East, the nominees are Cal Gamer, 7man, or Haman.
Haman.
As soon as you say Cal Gamer, all other votes become irrelevant.
Chills.
He's even out this vote.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. Hero, Fahad. I'm not sure which Fahad that is because there's 2, right?
There's
really good ones. I'm not sure which one it is. But
the one that makes globals.
Yeah, probably. Actually, yeah, that'd make more sense. OC Player of the Year, Alex, Worthy, Kazi, and Oatsley, the nominees.
My goats.
Aspect's fuming. Yeah, Aspect's fuming. He's like, what? Oatly? Over me?
Excuse me.
And then over in Asia, only 3 nominees for this one. Koyota, Mipoli, and Job, the nominees for Asia Player of the Year. You guys, any of the smaller region champions that you guys are...
We're gonna go Cal, like unironically, you gotta go Cal based on and because of their performance and straight up aura. For OCE, Kazi and Aspect probably because if you look at their actual online performances, I think was it not like first, second,
crazy,
or second, first, and then obviously it's globals and they're OCE, so they were you can just forget about that anyway. It's so rare. Asia, obviously, everyone's hyping up Toyota, but. I'm trying to remember how to spell Mapoli's name. I think it was like an X before it.
Yes,
yeah,
X.
They were the same. They were like second, third, first coming into globals as well, and then placed like 24th with Toyota at the same time. So like those two as a duo were crazy. But given Toyota had like all the hype and all the pros were saying he's like the player, you probably just got to go with him.
Well, yeah, it's not just in that case, right? Like it's not even just the hype because all the hype was like warranted. Like Toyota, is just crazy. Like I remember speaking to Ritual and Reet because obviously that they were fighting those guys over a bunker, and like Ritual Reet were constantly just like, yo, like we can shit on Mapoli, like we can handle him, but Toyota, there's a couple games where he's giving us the work. Oh,
It's a shame Harry's not here to,
Harry would
to
have
hype him
told
up
us to shut
in this
up,
moment.
Yeah. He would have told us to move on from this. It's obviously Toyota. Moving on to some more nominations. The duo of the year. The nominees are Peter Poyo, Queasy and Thomas, Chap and Teeny, and Acorn and Cold.
Nice little
Valid.
honorary Chap and Teeny mention there. I think that's great, considering the year they've had. This one's see, a lot of these just feel very obvious, when you just look at the names here. But second, I do hope that when these results are put out, we know exactly who's second, who's third in people's eyes, because obviously the first place a lot of the time seems pretty easy to pick. But I'm very curious to see how people consider like Chap and Teeny second. No FNCS qual for Chap, and then Teeny like top whatever, versus Queasy Thomas's second, globals, LAN included, and then a bit of a dudded other part of the year. So I am very curious to see how they push those two up against each other, even compared to someone like Acorn and Cold. So
how do you put that together? What's your second, third?
I see. This is tough because Chapatini didn't even dud globals that much. They got sixth, right? I'm pretty sure, right?
Really
which isn't even that bad. So there was sixth, second, and then obviously Chap missed an FNCS. He didn't qualify, and I don't remember what Teeny's pace was in Chapter 5 Season 1. I don't.
There's a
Reese will have it.
I searched it, and it gave me the chap from Brazil who placed 44th. So
that's all I need to know. That's all I need to know.
My sheet needs. Oh yeah, Teeny. Wait, sorry. My sheet needs.
Chap didn't qualify. Chapter 5 Season 1.
Teeny.
He was dudded.
What's the spelling of this man? There's
T3
too many.
E-N-Y.
36.
Okay,
so
like
you guys
basically
should remember that from Harry's Guess Who game. Teeny was one of the ones when you read out the person. Anyway, I'm waffling.
Anything Harry does, I don't remember, by the way, for reference. But to answer your question, I mean, shit. Well, if we do pick Chapantini here, then the player of the year has to change, right? Because surely they had a better year here. So in that case, in order for the legitimacy of this competition to be fulfilled, I'm gonna go with Queasy Thomas second, Acorn, and then Acorn Cole, and then Chapantini fourth. There you go.
Well, it's also like you just have to see what you value, and I value the second at globals in that performance much more than the sixth at globals. And then you look at the other placements they had in the year, and like the 2 seconds from Chapantini online were incredibly impressive. Like, especially for a duo that got together, Chap's kind of like first grands or very early on into his grands, and like those performances and consistency were insane. Best breakout year, but you just compare them to Thomas and Queasy, and I don't really think it's a comparable.
Yeah, it feels. I'm sure there'll be people that think it's harsh because if you remember those seasons, which I do, during the season, you would easily say Chapantini over Queasy and Thomas for like for Major 2, Major 3, even going into globals. Most people probably would have said the same. But then in the biggest competitions of the year, Queasy and Thomas consistently did better than them. You'd say, or like not consistently did better than them. Maybe that's a bit over the top, but you know what I mean? Like, obviously in globals they did better. They won an FNCS, and they still were competitive in others. So, yeah.
Also, I think one of the things that I'm trying to think if we talked about really ever that's impressive just about Chapantini when we're thinking about it is their globals performance when they came 6th was like mainly contested as well.
Against against Canada and Cooper.
Yeah, exactly. And they made them stink out at the event. And top 6 for them, whilst doing that off the rattiest loot. They're one of the only teams who could really do that off of sticks and stones because they're going to have some stupid ratty game plan to like hide under a bin or something,
Yeah.
Also a lot of pressure on the chap too with all the cheating allegations and stuff, right? Yeah.
So much. First land, so much pressure, all the cheating allegations. He was late to the land. So
he barely didn't make it either. Yeah, so, insane.
No, it's pretty closer than even we're making out to be.
When you think about it. Imagine they were uncon.
True.
Man, it wasn't like they were fighting off spawn.
They'd probably do worse, I think, if they were uncon. I think they like that early fight for Surge,
But they weren't really fighting them most of the time. That's the thing, like, because they
allowed them to like. I think they rotated like mid map, right, and they like put some ratchet in mid map and like third party to fight over at
third party reels a lot.
Yeah. So that kind of opened up for that. Poor Rios the whole time. I think it's interesting that for EU teams here, none of the winners are here. It kind of says like the consistency, like how much weight do we actually put into winning an FNCS? Because it's interesting because like I personally feel like second place is basically winning. I don't think it matters as much. Like when people talk about like GOAT debates with Thomas HD, I'm like, Thomas has basically won 5 FNCSs at this point. I don't think the win matters that much. I know you had this conversation last week, by the way. I've listened to it, but that's my personal opinion on it. So
I mean, in terms of consistency, it's as close as you can get. But it's not a win. It is almost a win, right? It's 95%, but it's not a win. And there's something to be said about winning something and not winning it. Like, especially when you think about how some teams win and how dominant they are and how far ahead they are. It's like they weren't even nearly second. Whereas, you know, if you place second there, that's almost like a fifth because of how far ahead first place was, if you think about it. So, like, all those seconds, you could sit and go, sure, it's basically a first, but it's also basically not. So,
but to be fair, Chapter 5 Season 1 was essentially a win. I think even Malibuka admits it, right? Like,
Malibuka
it was a one.
Said it didn't feel
that one was. Yeah.
It was like a 1 point difference, and the game last game was laggy as shit. Like, it could have gone either way. Like, I don't think that season any single team was better than the other one. I think they were both
a 1 point win in a season where like. In the meta where the kill point is like 4, so it's like, I mean they lost by like the difference of less than a kill, you know. So, but I'm glad you mentioned that, Boo, because there's a team who somebody else wanted to nominate in the conversation. They mentioned them, and it was Malibuka Mustache, and they said Malibuka Mustache. They came first, 6th, 4th. Obviously, they did it at Globals. I think they came 32nd at Globals. Now, I personally believe they don't deserve to be anywhere near this award. Do of the year. Even though when you look at the FNCS placements throughout the year, that's insanely because that might be better on paper, FNCS wise, than any other team in the EU, right? First, 6th, 4th. I think, that'd be better than everyone else.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
But to me, this is one of the biggest problems in Fortnite. We just ignore the context of what was happening during that time completely. We're just looking at the placement. Cool, they won. Like we just talked about, it was the closest win possible. It was such a close win. The guy who won said he didn't feel like he won. Right? So
they were also triple conned off spawn though, which is also like for a team who's historically really ass off spawn.
Yes, but they were triple con, but it was fields, right? So it was like the north side was like double con, and they were the south. So it's like it's a different type of triple con. Even when you say it, it's like that's the concept. But
and they got the mythic.
But the rest of the seasons. 6th, 4th, they had Grim and they had Redline Rig Coin and they came 6th and 4th.
True.
And we were here every week talking about how if they don't win, it's a travesty. And in the actual Grand Finals, they played shockingly, even with the best loot. And it's not even one of those things where it's like, it happens. Because we're all sat there watching Peterborough and Poyo absolutely stomp the rest of the world with that same loot that those guys had. And they were struggling to compete for top 3, let alone, win. So for me, I don't think it's right putting them as deal of the year. Because contextually, even though they came 6th and 4th, which are good placements, it's an underperformance. They underperformed in those majors. So for me, it didn't feel right. And then they went to Globals and actually just straight up did it. So it's like even more so.
Yeah.
Context there is important though.
They were called by Alex and then third party.
32nd.
Remember. Third party every single game at Reels.
I mean, that was on them for choosing the worst fucking drop spot of all time after choosing the best drop spot.
They decided, Alex was there first, and then Malibu decided, you know what, we're just going to land on them there, which is an interesting choice. To be fair, EU is just so hard that, the coin doesn't matter in EU, realistically. So let's move on to the next thing here.
Next category, Coach of the Year. The nominees are Razaru, Sven, BloodX, and Vasculado from Brazil.
So the difficulty in these is for most of the time and most years historically, it's just been really difficult to understand what a coach is actually doing for the most part, right? Because we don't know, Sven's not very forward facing for the most part, right? You don't see him talk, but he works with a lot of big teams that are super, super successful out there.
Yeah.
Obviously, Blood has become more forward facing recently, and obviously this year Raz has become way more because he's obviously, doing teams like Peterborough and Poyo and things like that.
Spotlight.
And then obviously Vasquez from Brazil, so I have absolutely no idea. So it's this is usually quite hard, but I think this year, I think a lot of the coaches have had a lot more respect on their names than we would say previously. So I think this one's maybe probably the easiest one to vote for that we've seen historically, or the one that most people will be the most informed on, I would say.
This is the first one in a while where there's actual options. In the previous years, it kind of felt like Blood X was just kind of sweeping them for the most part. But this year, there's actually like, you could look at a lot of these different teams and be like, hey, I think there's a clear winner, to be fair.
Yeah.
I think there's a direction most people will obviously go with. I think put some respect to Masquerada. I feel bad because I think with the smaller regions in some cases, and I want to try and get better at this even on the pod, and hopefully we can like get people on who can talk about some of these regions, because there might be a coach who actually has just been unreal. Like Masquerada, I don't know what I don't even know who he coaches, but he might have had an unreal year in terms of the impact he made coaching in that region.
Yeah.
Like, we're just so not aware of it outside of that region, you know?
100%. It's really hard to do that, though, because you have to then pay attention to the most boring shit of your life, watching the worst gameplay of all time in these tiny regions where there's cheaters and teamers everywhere. So it's like, it's hard enough to watch NA on top of EU, but you're trying to add all these other regions as well.
But Vascarado's the hope. He's like Batman. He's cleaning the streets of Brazil out of these teamers and surge traders. Maybe he's getting them out of this rut. I don't know. Honestly, I think Coach of the Year is like kind of I don't really agree with this as a category, because a lot of the time when people come to my show, like, people, who do you think the best coach is? Like, I don't fucking know. Like,
your name's Coach Boop.
Yeah, there you go. I'm a
why are you not in here, mate?
Why am I not in here? Actually, that's
your viewer
question.
Boop.
Yeah, I'm viewer Boop, viewing potty Boop. But realistically, when it comes to like dictating and rating a coach, let's be honest, Razu has had the best year, but who knows how good Razu is, right? Like, a lot of this time, it's either like, a lot of people have this opinion like, oh, the players that they coach are just so good, it doesn't really matter, you know? But like, a lot of the players credit Razu for their success, but at the same time, it's hard to put a number there, because you're not there to coach someone. You don't hear them a lot of the time. Now you do. Obviously, Blood X, you hear them on Savage's stream. Sometimes Razu, you hear them on
Blood
the other
X
stream.
too much. Like,
can we
on.
talk about that? That guy talks way too much, man. Like, holy shit, bro, we get it, man. Like, goddamn. But like, at the same time, it's someone like Sven, you don't know the impact of them because it's behind the scenes a lot of the time. We did see a little bit of EWC. Obviously, Xset Sven won EWC, so like, that's a coaching performance there that you get. That's like slightly more tangible, because they were, I think, behind them the whole time. I'm not sure if they could talk to them during the games.
They could talk during timeouts.
During timeouts, not that was ever used, I think. But I think it's very hard. I don't think there's much tangible here. I think the vote here is obviously going to go in the sway of Raz, because obviously the performances of his teams. But I don't really like this category, because I think it's so hard to determine the impact of a coach on a player, other than the player saying, yeah, he was pretty good, you know, it was great.
Yeah, it is really hard. I think one thing, as someone who has had the chance to spend lots of times with the coaches, like last year, spent a lot of time with Blood X, spent a lot of time talking to Sven, especially around EWC. And before globals as well. So like, I've seen the impact coaches have, and even with everything people saying that I genuinely agree with, one thing that should be clear, coaches have big impact. They do. They genuinely do. There's a reason why all the best players want coaches and will praise and credit coaches all the time when they're successful, right? Because coaches do have impact. But again, like Boop said, how you measure that impact and compare, it can be very tough. Coach of the Year is a category I've always struggled with in like sports when I follow basketball and football. A lot of time it's hard. It's harder for us, I think, as Fortnite fans, especially with the way the game is spectated and observed, to actually tangibly like show. Because we never even watch a team's full game during the tournament unless you're watching the streamer's POV, right? Or unless you're VOD reviewing after, right? So seeing a lot of the dirty work that the coaches are doing, a lot of the structure they're putting in is coming before we often even see a team, maybe on a broadcast or whatever. So it's very, very hard to measure and show. If I'm going to try and do it, I'd say yes, obviously Raspberry had the best years performance-wise. The thing I'd say maybe that would go against him, if I'm being critical, is that I think the players... Actually, maybe this is actually going to go against him. Maybe you'd actually put his favor of him. He did something that I think is very important that every coach needs to do, in that you need to play to your players' strengths. And so when you look at the Razaru teams that have been successful this year, it was very clear what the idea was there, right? You have two very fraggy players. You teach them how to play the game, is how like the people are saying it, right? But like you give them a structure they can follow that allows them to use their great fragging ability, and then of course you're going to be successful, right?
Yeah.
If the players are good enough. So it's hard. I think you'd go obviously Razuri this year with the successes players had, but do I think that necessarily means he's the best coach out of like the three that I know at least, and maybe whoever else you want to add to the category? Not necessarily, to be honest. But again, I don't know enough. You know.
Yeah.
Well, I think one of the interesting things about just talking about impact of coaches generally is, how are you weighting what a coach can do? Because, can a coach take the best player and make them even better, or can they take a really good player and make them compete with the best? And there are different traits, there are different things you might need to do in terms of like getting the best out of each player. And you might need to do completely different things for each one. Is one more impressive than the other? Like, say for Raz, as a good example, like, is the fact that his team's won more a reflection of his coaching? Now, obviously, he's done great work with them, no doubt.
Right.
But like, if another coach, say one of Sven's teams, right, they were like 30th in the region, and now they're top 5, is his impact more than what Raz's team would have done, where maybe they were top 5 and then they guaranteed win? It's like, that's to us is like impossible to measure as people on the outside. And most good coaching, like, you don't see it, and you won't even see it if you start looking for it for the most part, because 100%. It just looks like if we jump in the VODs and try and watch a couple of games, there'll be stuff that they'll be doing that will, they'll be thinking about and talking about, but because we don't have the voiceover, we can't hear them, or we weren't there when they're creating the game plan, it's like almost impossible to reverse engineer the strategy. So it's like, Coach, we're a long rant on why Coach of the Year is difficult to analyze.
The only time when you can actually ever do that is when a coach is coaching multiple teams. Because remember, there was a period in time, like last year maybe, or 2 years ago now, or maybe it was 3 years ago, where like there was like a bunch of Blood X teams that were doing like the same exact strat. So you can clearly tell, okay, this is something that like Blood X is telling his teams to do, right? But it's so rare that you see those things. Those things are happening, but you, again, like we said, you'd never even be able to figure out and know it. In like real sports, a lot of time what happens is like there's like 3 ways a coach wins Coach of the Year. It's a coach who has a team that talent-wise everybody looked at and didn't expect to do as good as they did, and so bam, the coach wins it, because it's like, oh, your team should have never been this good, and they were this
basically
good,
the summary of that is your team's shit and you won, you must be the GOAT.
Right. Then there's the this team they just won more than everybody else, so the coach is clearly doing a good job. So this team won, so they're doing a good job, you're the coach of the year. And then there's like, a mix of like the two, where it's just like this team is playing the best basketball or playing the best football, like what they're doing on the pitch, on the field is the most satisfying. And and all of those things are so hard for us to even quantify in Fortnite.
You sort of have it with like two. You can kind of look at like the comparison of Razor's Blood is Flixie Vico, I guess for that comparison with football, like weren't expected to do well. Flixie came off of a stinkiness with Giannis, and then Vico came off of a stinkiness with Vico, with Pink, sorry. And then for Blood, it was Batman Bugha, and was it actually no, was Batman Bugha with Blood?
He wasn't coaching. No, he wasn't.
Oh no, that was before that. Okay, so maybe okay. Oh, there you go. Razu then wins that discussion in that sense, right? Because he kind of brought Flixie and Vico out, and they credit him for a lot of that. I think it's interesting that you brought the parallels between different teams, because you have that with both coaches. You have Razu, Peterbot,
Vico Flixie,
Peterbot Poyo, and then you had Vico Flixie, and then for Blood you had Kami Sedi, and then Iomzo and Ane, that both landed same spot but had exactly the same type of play styles, right? So you can sort of see the consistency between those two. We don't see the hard work behind the scenes. That's it. Maybe there should be some like coaching content that comes up behind the scene. Maybe something like a little brand work from Blood and Razu, like recording them coaching their teams after a season, and then they put like the hardships of what happened in season 1 and season 2 and season 3. But no one's that like marketing focused, I feel like, to do so.
That's getting straight behind a paywall.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, that's what I'm saying. Like, there's
It
the
already
marketing,
Yeah.
All right, on to the next one. Org of the Year, Exet, Dignitas, Gentlemates, and Zeta Division were the nominees. I know what Reese thinks of this category already.
Love it.
I'm gonna
my favorite category of the year. Big fan of orgs in Fortnite. They provide a lot of value to us. Although, let's see. This year they've at least been somewhat relevant. More than the previous. Still an entire crazy money sink. But yeah.
I think this one is more about, do they do something with their players? Yes or no? If I'm going through this one by one, Exet, Clicks his brand, sign Clicks. I don't know if that's just yet, but put a lot of money into players, won something. Don't think the org has much to do with them winning, right? Like, they would have won if they were called Boop Esports, realistically. So, from that win, it's more of a marketing and branding thing, so I don't think there's much there. Dignitas, bunch of great players. They sell gaming gloves. Cool. And then Gentlemates, I think, is one of the I think Gentlemates wins this one easy. And the reason why I think so is because they actually do stuff with the players. And I think they've actually put the first step forward here to revolutionizing on how you actually make money off your players. I think the Nikov viewing party strategy, signing a bunch of players, investing into their content, making people fans of them, I think is working out well. And we're seeing that now with other orgs in Fortnite coming in. There's another org now coming into Fortnite called HVK, who's owned by a YouTuber called Waz. They just signed Pixie, they have Wox, they have Nathan, they have Skyjump, I believe, as well. They signed a bunch of players, and now what they're doing is just doing viewing parties for these players. They're making them stream and showing their POVs. We've never seen a Pixie POV. Now we have a Pixie POV in like a Division 1 Cup, even though you can't restream it, unfortunately. But I think that Gentlemates has put that step forward and saying, like, hey, this is one of the ways in Fortnite we can monetize our players and get people to be involved into the community by having, some dude doing a viewing party and like making these characters come to life. So I think for that innovation, I think Gentlemates take this by far.
I'd love to call it an innovation, but it's not.
In Fortnite, at least.
Solary's been doing this. Well, it's funny because you mentioned Nikov. Nikov's doing this because he was the player before. He was Solary Nikov, and the Solary guy was doing the viewing party for them. The French orgs have been doing this forever in Fortnite, since the beginning of Fortnite. The one thing I do like is that I want to see more people do it, because it was always just like only the French. I think there was a Spanish org that did it at one point as well. A Spanish team was doing something similar. But
Boy? Maybe?
It might have been. I don't know why people didn't expand though, because I'm interested to see what happens with HVK, because HVK aren't just picking up like French players, they're like picking up, a bunch of just really good players in EU, and like hopefully doing it with them is will be good.
The thing with Solary though, Solary does it, but the reason why I think it's gone better for M8 is because Solary they sort of do the thing that a lot of French players do in Fortnite, and it's just kind of keep to themselves, Solary, like, obviously from a viewing party perspective, Solary, I can't watch a Solary stream. Like, if I watch them, the French lawyers are knocking on my fucking door, FBI coming through, So, like, that content, they're not able to expand it other than the small circle of French players.
Right.
Obviously, M8 is a large org backed by a larger YouTube of Gotaga, but they've now signed, Vanya. They have a bunch of different people from different parts of Fortnite, and they welcome people watching that stream as well. They're not defensive of the content. And now this might be slightly biased because I think the restream to it is kind of stupid, but it welcomes the audiences now. Aussie Antics, 10,000 viewers during an FNCS. All those guys are now going to be interested in the M8 players. So I think that's slightly more revolutionary in that sense. And now more people are taking step into it. Although I guess Havoc has the same thing where you can't watch the stream, so maybe not. But
I think the big question I have with this that's on everyone's mind is, does this work if you're not French?
You wanna go split season by Vico for like 30K a month?
No,
let's pick up an FNtasia team. Someone invest, Colonize or someone, give us some money. Yeah, let's invest into some players and do an FNtasia team, and we
have to do viewing parties though.
I got that part. The thing,
but then you have to only do that.
Yeah, I'm down. That's fine. I had this discussion on stream before, and it's actually kind of interesting because like M8 signed Mursash, right? Was it Mustache?
Right.
Yeah, Mustache. Yeah.
Yep.
Mm.
And like Queasy's got no say in that. Like, I'm playing with Mustache. Fuck, now Mustache has to stream our streams, right?
Yeah.
Like, what you can do is you just sign the cheapest player on every single
On the
team.
team.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know, like, and you just get the big like, for example, okay, let's. This is no disrespect to any individual player, but there's
It's
very
gonna be hella
obvious
disrespectful.
cheap players in each big trio. Like, okay, you can't. Code's going to be expensive. Peanut Butter's going to be expensive. But Ritual's going to be a little bit cheaper than both of them. So you can get the Peanut Butter POV at a premium here, and then you can reinvest the money. Same thing as Vico, Veno, Flixie. Vico's going to be expensive. Veno's going to be expensive. Brother Flixie's going to be at a discount as well, you know? And then for the Poyo team, you know, you can get Poyo's going to be probably a little bit expensive. Both going to be expensive. But, you know, you get the third one in there as well. Like, you can get all these cheap players, and that's exactly what these guys are doing at Havoc, right?
Oh.
They're signing the players and just trying to add some of these these players and their fan base and trying to milk them for like cheaper. I think it's a great business strategy, honestly.
I've seen the vision. You said something genius here, right?
No, it's
I just
true.
hear FNCS Grand Finals right now. Someone from if you say they signed Ritual, right? Someone joins the call and they're like, Ritual, viewers are low. I'm gonna need you to kill yourself and spectate Peterball right now. We need the POV.
Imagine, bro.
In-game.
100%. That'd be crazy. Yeah, please in game. Not at all, but in game is what Reese was saying. It's interesting because that's part of why I'm interested to see what happens a bit more with Havoc. And obviously, MA have been doing it a bit last year, but like it worked when people were doing it within those communities, right? When the French were doing it, and it's just French fans, and it's part of why, like, I get what you're saying, Boop, of like Solary was just kept to themselves, but their like goal is to market to the French audience. Like they care about how big they are in France. Now France has become super competitive with orgs since back then, right? So, you know, they've definitely lost a bit of market share there. They've lost some fans to KC and Gentlemates, I'm sure. But yeah, like I would be interested to see how. I actually think there's a part of it that works better if you take like a nationalist approach. Like I think if you do, like if I was to do it years ago with like UK players, it would bang more than if I'm just doing it with like random people. Even if those people are still good, you know, like there's an element of like allowing people to like get behind
community,
country and a community that I think works really, really well. But either way, we've kind of gotten a bit sidetracked. Yeah, Gentlemates, I think, are probably the ones that do the most with their players, I guess. Except, I think you'd give them props for investing a lot into the scene. They obviously invested into the women's scene really heavily, which was cool. The EWC stuff, they picked up the best team, I guess. It was I guess it's whatever. Dig did try and do a lot of content stuff this year or last year, which I respect them for a lot. You could tell that those guys like actually are trying to. They were trying to create a better brand around their players. How successful that was is neither here nor there, but like they actually did things as well, right? In terms of you're looking at who does things with their players, I think you got to give some props to Dig there as well. So it'll be interesting to see who wins this one. I'm not too sure myself who I think is going to win. It'll be interesting.
It'll just be XL will win because people are clicks.
Popularity,
Yeah,
that's probably.
They're kind of like the Al Nasser of Fortnite, basically. You know, they bought an EWC team, they bought a female team. Like, I feel like it's great that they're investing into it, but like, there's no inherent value being added.
I think you're saying that they're Falcons of Fortnite.
Yeah, the Falcons of Fortnite, pretty much. Yeah, I mean, they're doing great stuff, and it's cool to invest in like the female scene before, but like, realistically, it's more about the profile here than like about like growing it. I feel like, you know.
Yeah, I'd love to see. Yeah, because I feel like they invest. They did the typical org thing where you invest and then you go from there.
I haven't heard anything about those skills in ages.
Yeah,
no.
Like Reese said, it's the money sink. You know, so you spend the money, and what do we do with it?
Spending money. What does that mean? I could spend a bunch of money. Does that make me a good fucking org? No.
Yeah.
Makes me bad at investing and understanding return on my investment. I don't know. And this just doesn't go out to excess because this is just my general org peeve as always, you know? Just like, what are we doing with it, you know?
Yeah. Next category, Caster of the Year. The nominees are Leven2k, Taco, and Jacob PR.
We couldn't muster up a fourth here.
I was like, it's a bit weird. This is another category of just 3, like the Asia Player of the Year, I think. But all right,
Levin's just running away with it, so we're just we just couldn't
He's
be
not
bothered.
technically a caster, but we'll
just-
give it
just-
to him. It's
I
fine.
didn't
Couldn't be
cast last year.
bothered to fill other people in.
Yeah, no, I casted a bit last year.
Oh, you did EWC, yeah. You did
Yeah, I did
EWC,
EWC.
right?
I did a bunch of stuff.
We said that doesn't count though. We said
Yeah,
that doesn't
true.
count already.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it probably doesn't. To be fair, I don't think most
Yeah,
people
no.
will even remember that.
Who do you think should win, Levin?
So obviously you have the discussions in the Discord, right? Like the panel that we have, and I think this is a hard one for a lot of people because this is a category that does come down a lot of the time to just popularity. Like when it's happened in the past years, it's come down to popularity. It's come down to people will vote for me because they like me. They won't vote for me because I'm actually a good broadcaster. Well, they might think I'm a good broadcaster, but they don't necessarily know why I'm a good broadcaster. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I feel like this is one of those ones where people don't understand the mechanics of it as good as maybe you would like player of the year, where it's like, oh, this guy won the most tournaments and he got the most kills, so it's obvious, he's the player of the year, right? Like, people don't really understand. So when I voted for this award in previous years, this is what I look for. And I wrote it down, so I'll read my message verbatim because it's just the same shit. I'm looking for three things. Anytime I turn on a broadcast, whether it's Fortnite, CSGO, Valorant, this is what I'm looking for from my broadcasters, my commentators, and it's good storytelling. How invested do you get me into what's happening on screen? Like, how do you weave the different narratives taking place into one good story? Novel insight is super important to me because, like, I'm not stupid. So when I'm watching, I can see what's happening. But what can you tell me that, like, I don't know? Like, how often are you giving me, like, a new perspective that's changing my mind about something, And then the last one is, I think, kind of obvious, but just engaging delivery. Like, you kind of have to just sound good. Like, if you can say all the right shit, but if you just sound terrible, like, I don't want to listen to you. That's just how the nature of the job, right? So how do you connect to the audience? And those are the three main things I'm looking for. I don't like that there's only 3 people nominated for this. So, like, this year, I was partnered up with 2 people. Right? I was partnered up with Mini Miner, and I was partnered up with Vivid at Globals. So, for me, obviously, I think all the casters do an amazing job, but obviously I worked closely with those 2, so I wanted to show them love. So, in terms of who I voted for, I don't think I'm allowed to vote for myself, is how it works. The people I would vote for would be those 2, because I worked with them, and they both work really hard, and both did a great job. I think they ticked all those boxes I just listed off there. So I'd go Vivid and Mini Miner, 2 guys.
That's valid.
Yeah.
I think I want to slightly contrast what you said, but also agree with you at the same time, where you said, you put your 4 criteria for what makes you want to listen. I think those 4 are important for everyone. However, the viewer changes based on who they are, right? You are a very experienced and unknowledgeable Fortnite player, right?
Unknowledgeable.
Not player. Sorry, not player. You're not. Whoa! I almost give you credit for your playing abilities. After playing some FNCS last week, I definitely know that's not true, right?
Yeah.
Oh, you
That's
guys,
not true.
we got to talk about that later, by the way.
Yeah,
There's
later
some
on.
drama there.
That's not for this side tangent. You're invested in the scene. You know a lot. So for you to understand, get some new insight, for example, it'll take someone who's, more knowledgeable, who really spends the time, who goes deep, who knows their analysis and all this kind of stuff. But for a more average viewer player, like, the standards are lower, and it becomes that novel, like, learning that you're going to get comes from someone like, less important information, or like newer information, things like that. And I think the summary of the 4 things that you just said basically comes down to, do I just like them or not? Like, if I'm listening, do I just like it? Does it sound good or not?
Yeah.
Which goes back to what you said to start with, where, like, it usually is like a popularity contest. But the people who are the most popular in these scenarios are usually just the people who fit those 4 criteria the best for the vast majority of people.
It's the most personable person usually is that fits this category, right? Like, if I had to break this down one by one, I'd say Levin is the man of the people, right? Like, everyone knows him. He's kind of like the everyone's friend of the caster. Like, everyone enjoys him. Everyone thinks, like, they could be good homies with the boy Levin, and he has that knowledge and he has the voice for it. I'd say Jacob is the one that probably like a lot of people don't give him credit, but I feel like he works very hard behind the scenes. Like you don't know that, but like Jake is one of the few people that actually messaged me for my insight about things that are happening with this. He's like, "Oh, what happened in the scrim? Like, how do I say this guy's name? Like, give me this information." No other person asked me this, by the way, of the analysts of the broadcast. So, like, I'll give him that credit. Taco, I think she's improved a lot in the last year. I wasn't the biggest fan of Taco on the broadcast. I didn't think she had that much knowledge, but this year she's definitely living it up and she's improved a lot. So it's basically, like, improvement arc for Taco, Jacob, who's the hardest working, I feel like, in behind the scenes, and then Leven, who's just the guy, right? So it's very hard to put into like numbers in this side. So not saying that Leven doesn't work hard, by the way, but just like.
Well, it sounds like you're saying.
No,
it's not messaging.
It just he just knows so much.
He just
Leven.
wants you to DM him, bro.
Yeah,
he's like,
Leven
just doesn't DM me ever. It's just everyone else, look how much Jacob's DMing me. Just Leven never does,
No, but I think what you said is spot on there. I think that's what most people said in like the discussions, and like I think it makes the most sense. Like Jacob puts in so much work. Like Jacob's been doing a lot when it comes to just like trying to make a road and a path in this community. Because you're right, I don't think he gets as much like
credit. No,
so yeah, he doesn't get as much credit as he probably should. He's been hustling like the past 2 years, not even just last year, just the past 2 years he's been hustling. And Taco, 100% agree. I think she got a lot of stick in the beginning. And some of it was probably justified because she obviously didn't come from Fortnite, right? So she didn't know as much as everybody else did. But she is also incredibly hardworking, constantly watching. Like until you said like the messaging thing, Taco is always messaging me about stuff going on. Sometimes I actually have to tell her I don't care about what's happening in this NA scrim on a random Thursday. Like I don't give a fuck. Like please. So props to her because she puts in work and she's definitely gotten a lot better with knowledge wise. Like she's constantly watching shit. So whoever people vote for, you probably can't go wrong realistically. So next category, breakout player of the year. The nominees are Chap, Wox, Sky, and Nathan. A full EU sweep.
I am noticing.
I think Bolts is unlucky that he had already won, which is why he's not here.
Yeah,
he won in FNCS before last year. So, what do we make of these? Chap, Wox, Sky, Nathan. Who's probably the breakout player of the year here?
I mean, you've just got to go with Chap. Surely. Based on what we said earlier, coming out first FNCS Grand Finals, a second, and sixth at Globals. Unreal performance. And it's one of those like classic stories of a new player where you're just like, he's cheating. His awareness is so good. He must be the best player ever. And then he just is. And that's it. That's like the end of the story. And you go, okay, he just rose up, was really good, and then kept popping off, repeatedly. They made the pressure of Globals and managed to perform really well in that situation. Condo Spawn, like we said, 2 seconds already. Like, I don't know, the other players on this list have done really good things. Nathan last year was super consistent. He's been around for a while already, but like definitely the best year he's had last year. But I don't know, even just placement wise, story wise, nothing really seems to compare to Chap in my eyes here.
I think there's only 2 players here that actually started this year. Wox has been a player for a long time. I don't think he's like a breakout. I don't understand what.
Nah, I don't agree with that.
He's been in grand finals for ages. Like last year, the year before this one as well.
For the award show next year, I'll get the actual like description and cut off of it because there is like a set parameter of like breakout. It's like. I think it's something to do with just like your best grand placement before a certain time or something. There's like a way, like Wox counts based off of the parameters that are set, and based off of that, when you look at a year he's had the second best year here of all of these guys.
The way I see it is, I see this as rookie of the year almost. That's what I would see breakout players of the year. Because like I feel like Wox has been a part of the community. He's been in grand finals multiple times before. This year his arc has been insane. I agree. Like he's developed from the stupid W Kia into a competent comp player, and his results show that. But when I look at this as like rookie of the year, obviously. I feel like Wox and Nathan are just they've been in the community for a long time, so I don't see it that way. Chap, I feel like hasn't been known in this first grand finals this year. Sky, same thing, hasn't been known, very young player, first grand finals this year as well. So I think it's between those two. I think it's very obviously Chap. But I think Sky and obviously Scroll as well deserve a shout out because those two are insane this year. They've revitalized Denmark, I think, as a country in Fortnite.
For sure. Yeah.
World record for worse binds than me as well. That's what's crazy.
Literally, like how is that even possible? No, I hear what you're saying, Boop. But Boop is doing like the classic Boop thing of like, if I ignore what the award is and I change it to what I think it should be, then I'd vote this way.
Well, maybe the award shouldn't be this then, huh? Have you thought about that, Leven?
Yes.
Newcomer.
Yes.
Newcomer of the year.
This award has been done before. This is the award that's actually been the most problematic in recent years because SPG's been doing this for years. The problem is that if you do it Rookie of the Year based, Boop, like there's some years where it would feel wrong because like I think the way he set the parameter now is probably like the best way, but like it can get a bit complex.
It should be just like the first year. If this year is the first grands they made, that should be the indicator maybe or something like that. Like first ever grand final, this is your rookie year.
What you're saying is historic shitter of the year though. Where you just used to be bad and now you're good.
Yeah, exactly. Like you've had a come up year. Yeah, I like that.
But then that still applies to like a Wox, right? Because he was just doing crap before and then started doing good.
Well, he didn't make it. He had made grand finals before this year, though. I think
he had a 12.
But like people do. I mean, like people join up and they play and they're not that great and we don't really consider them, then they have their year where they have finally now are established as a top player, right? That's like the point of this award. It's not just like who popped up good. Because I think, let me try to find it. Like, it might have been maybe like Cooper last year or like somebody, there's a year where somebody was like the obvious winner, but then if you did it as a Rookie of the Year award, you'd be like, well, no, because they had a placement that was good the year before, you know? Like, this is just... this is the way where you can catch like the most people correctly, I think.
Sure. I think this makes sense. It makes sense. Yeah, we just need to clarify what it really means though. Like, this is their best year.
Maybe just add a Rookie of the Year category on top of this one. We get both sides covered. Fuck it. There you go. Maybe.
Then there's a bunch of community awards as well. So if you scroll down on the website, if you're on the website, there's a bunch of community awards that you can vote for. So there's Player of the Year, Streamer of the Year, Male Content Creator of the Year, Female Content Creator of the Year, Personality of the Year, Heartwoman Award, Grinder of the Year, and then a couple others. I won't ask you guys about all of these, but if there's any one in particular that you want to vote for, or you're thinking of, and you're like, this person deserves it.
We had this conversation beforehand. Creative of the Year. Yeah, get my boy Nola in there. Leven said that. It reminded me of that. My editor, who does also the editor for a lot of the FN competitive content, get him in there. Go.
Yeah, I agree. A lot of people that's one of those hard ones because people just don't know Nola because he's in the background.
Bro, when I saw it, I was like, "Who? I don't know any creatives." Yeah, I do, bro. When you said it, I was like, "Oh yeah, the guy I work with."
There's a good guy award. I didn't even see that at the bottom.
Yeah, good guy. I don't know who is nominated for that or who.
You're a good guy,
I'd give that to you.
You're nice, man.
Yeah. Am I the good guy for bringing back FNtasia? Can I be a good guy of the year?
You'd be a good guy if you brought back the call-in show. There you go. That's
he doesn't even remember the name of it. That one call-in show you did, you know?
I mean, it's been such a long time, man. Maybe it's going to be like Conan-ized or something, you know, give a lot of money out this year, you know?
Yeah.
To be fair, he did pay for like, what's the girl's called? The ex that goes, he let her travel to like Texas, like he paid for like stuff. Like he's been supporting some people. Yeah, maybe that's a good guy.
That's a Conan-ized.
Yeah.
The one for me, so yeah, I'd agree with Nola for Creative of the Year. A lot of people don't know. Like a lot of the best video. If you see a video from like the FN comp account this year, he probably was involved in it. You know, he's that kind of guy. One award I think I really think was an obvious one for me. Tweet of the Year has to go to Bugha. The lion does not concern himself with the opinions of the sheep. 100% has to be the Tweet of the Year for me. I don't know which 100%. Other tweets would be considered Tweet of the Year, but that's the most memorable tweet of 2024 for me in the Fortnite com.
I agree.
Maybe of all time.
Maybe of all time, yeah. You got one, Duke, maybe?
Do I have one? I mean, the meme of the year is going to be massive, right? Like, that's just like...
That's a comp.
That's
Is that
too
complicated?
widespread. Nah.
Yeah.
There's
That's
we're
too normie,
missing
bro.
so much funny shit this year. I feel like the lands this year haven't been memey, you know? Frankie Ward ruined it by getting pregnant, you know? Like, if she didn't have a child, she'd be popping off at the Globals, and we had some crazy interviews and some beef, but hopefully she'll be back next year for some spicy interviews.
Frankie would have said some like crazy shit when like Peterbot stared down Queasy. He was like, "You really have your eye on him. Do you want to go over there and talk to him?"
You know what? Let's walk over there. Come on.
Like,
She would have done that 100%.
Yeah, she would have said something crazy. Community support as well. Shout out to Noble, of course, for hosting the scrims and providing a place for people to practice. Shout out to Syrian and Kinch for all of the free data. Those were like the people that come to mind for that one. So just some more ideas for you.
No, fuck those guys, because they ruined comp with their stats. Every tournament, I see a fucking tweet of some dudes like, "Oh, this guy milked my shit." Dude, I saw a Marco tweet this where he's like, "Guess the player," and it was like fully shit talking and shit. Like, they have ruined the mentor. You know, there's unrealistic standards nowadays of social media. You know, like you know how girls see like these skinny girls in magazines. That is the equivalent in Fortnite. Like, you see these skinny Pete's on the top of the leaderboard with crazy damage numbers, and you expect your trio to be the same, bro, but you just can't compete with these expectations, man. Like, the unrealistic standards for men, they've ruined it all. The social media image.
You basically, what you're saying is that Assyrian single-handedly out here have changed the Fortnite landscape more than any other, you know, what was the category in community award ever has, you know.
True.
We've had Kinch blaming before for point estimates, but I feel like that was relatively niche. Now we're seriously into some blaming game, changing the game up here by damage stats. So
agree.
If anything, if they've got to win an award, surely we've got to give it to them for that.
Yeah. Agreed. And before we move on, male content creator of the year has to be Reisshub, easily. But yeah, anyway.
Thank you.
That's enough of that. Be sure to get your votes in, guys. We'll have the link in the description. And be sure to be here for next week's episode of the podcast. Will be the award show where we hand out the awards. We're going to try to get some like interviews from the winners of the different awards as well to play for you guys on the shows. So yeah, it'll be a good app. Show some love to somebody's gun and the comp awards for all the hard work they've been putting into this. We love stuff like this for the community. And again, next week, live show, FNtasia. Bang!
Bring your suits.
Yes, we will be suited up next week. I want everyone dressed like smart for the app.
We'll be looking handsome.
Yeah. All right. You guys loved this last week, so we're going to do it again. The category game. Boop, you missed it. But essentially, the way this is going to work is I'm going to be thinking of a Fortnite-related category, and you guys are going to have to guess that category by spewing out some names to me. And I'll tell you whether or not that name fits the category or doesn't fit the category. Once you've collected a bunch of category names that fit the category, you can make your guess on what the category actually is. And, you know, if you win, you win. You guys ready? You ready to start?
I don't know if I'm ever ready for this one. This is really testing my brain power that I am limited on.
Hey, close that document. I see your face lighting up white.
No. Yeah. It's RuneScape.
Okay. Okay. Oh, you got your account back. Nice.
No, I've done 2 other accounts. But anyway.
Rude.
RuneScape pod. Shout out to RuneScape players that listen. Let us know if you listen to or if you play RuneScape in the comments. Are you ready though?
Yes.
Okay. Reese, get us started.
I think you got to go with an easy pick straight away. You just got to throw a name out there and see what comes back. And it's got to be like one of the goats. Does Tayson fit into this?
Tayson.
I'm writing down yes or no, by the way.
Oh, I might get hate for this. Tayson doesn't fit this.
Ooh, no. Okay.
Oh, okay. I think I'm already. I've got the signal here. I'm gonna do Vico.
Vico does not fit this category.
Never mind. That was wrong.
Okay.
You're writing it down. Hold on. Let me get my notepad out.
I'm writing yes and no's
Vico,
because
no,
there's no way.
Tayson,
At the end of the day, you never remember this one.
Yeah.
Tayson did fit this category at one point. I'll give you that. He did at
Archie.
one point. Archie doesn't fit this category.
Okay. It's not the goats anyway.
Wait. Tayson did fit this category?
I need a name. You just got to throw some names out
Miro?
there. Mirror does not fit this category.
Okay, I was going goat sort of way, but like, yeah. Okay.
No Miro. What is it? Does anyone fit this category? Thomas HD.
Thomas HD definitely does not fit this category.
Definitely doesn't fit this category.
Yeah.
Interesting. I'm gonna go Brother Cold.
Cold definitely does not fit this category.
So we've not got a single player.
Are these ugly Fortnite players or something?
Sky.
He might fit this category. I'm kind of
Might.
No,
Okay.
that's bad on me.
Might. EBC.
Yeah.
I will throw out a Wox.
Wox does not fit this category.
Definitely not. Used
Alex.
Alex does not fit this category.
Does this category exist?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me throw out a Oliver OG.
No, does not fit this category. OJ does not fit this category.
Okay, that was somewhere different from what I was going.
Teeny.
Teeny does fit this category. Teeny definitely fits this category. Yeah. Need a name.
Chicho?
Chicho does not fit this category. Reese?
Fucking hell.
Okay, so
Chap.
Chap does not fit this category.
Bro, what?
ooh.
It's so
Chap
funny
doesn't.
because like people in the comments last week got like the Tayson one like really early.
I'm sure
like,
they
how
did.
you guys,
I'm sure they
how
did.
did you
I'm
guys
sure
not
they
get
did.
it? How did you guys not get it?
Let's go with an N pen.
M-Pen does not fit this category. It's a weird name to throw out there. I feel like.
There's something I'd cook in there, but it didn't.
I
come
threw
out.
up Archie and Alex. None of those are weird, but N-Pen, that's a strange
But I
one.
feel like there's names you guys could be saying that would make it so obvious what this category is, and you're just like not saying them, and it's really
I'm
frustrating.
Palazzo.
stuck on your mites. Your mites here. I don't know.
Palazzo.
Palazzo? Oh, no. Palazzo definitely doesn't fit this category. Shout out to Palazzo. I saw you and DJ played FNtasia with him a couple weeks
Yeah,
ago.
it was good fun. It was good fun. He's a cool dude.
Oop.
Let's throw out a. Let's throw out a Floki.
Loki does not fit this category. You guys need to start saying some names that are more like common people in comp. You'll start to get it. Like you guys are like thinking of the really niche
Bugha.
names. Bugha does not fit this category anymore, but he did.
Okay,
He doesn't fit it anymore.
So Bugha used to, Tayson used to.
Yeah. And that should help you a bit.
So Bugha used to, Tayson used to. Sky is a might, and Teeny is a yes.
An absolute yes. Definitely yes.
Absolute yes.
Give me a name, Boop. I need a name from you. We need to speed this up.
Give me a Trulex.
Trulex definitely does not fit this category. Definitely does not fit this category.
Peterbot.
Peterbot absolutely fits this category.
Give me a Swizzy.
Swizzy does fit this category. Yeah. He can fit this category. I don't think he doesn't fit this category, but he can fit this category.
Is this just fraggers?
No, Fraggers is not the category.
Wait, did you say one already, Reese? Or does that count as a guess?
Was that my guess, or is that?
That was his guess. So you
Okay.
got it.
Does Queasy fit under this?
Sadly, Brother Queasy does not fit this category.
Yeah, I was going the opposite there. Reese.
Yeah. We're gonna cheat show. Who are some players? Misha.
Does not fit this category. No.
I'm gonna do SETI.
SETI does not fit this category.
This is cooked.
Bro, Mongrel?
Mongrel does not fit this category, no.
Savage.
Savage does fit this, like he can fit this category. At one point, he was fit this category. Even Mongrel at one point fit this category as well, but not anymore, Mongrel.
Bro, we have
Okay.
2 yeses here, which is Peterbot and Teeny.
No, there's more.
Reese, no, I feel like Reese knows it.
He's fucked up.
I think the penny dropped for Reese. I think
Is this
he knows
players under 18?
it. No, I thought you were on it. No, I thought you were on it.
Is this players who are considered the best at one point in the region? Or something like that?
No.
Oh, mate. Cammy.
Cammy does not fit this category, no.
Dude, I'm actually drawing blanks here. I have no clue. Give me a. Give me a mustache.
Mustache, no. Does not fit this category. Definitely not.
Mate. What the actual...
Why is it so hard?
There's more than 2 yeses, by the way, Reese. I think you miswrote yours.
No, there's some maybes. And at one point...
There's some people who did fit this category. I'm trying to help you by telling them they did fit this category.
Straight yeses, there's only 2. Vadil.
Vadil definitely does not fit this category. No.
Definitely does not. So confident on Vidil there. Marius Cow.
Marius does not fit this category, no. Come on, get out some more of them regular comp names. People who are doing well in 2020.
Canada
absolutely fits this category.
People that have made more than have made every grand finals this year?
No.
Fuck. That's
This year, 2025, lad. Come on.
You know what I mean, 2024. I said that.
Acorn. Wait, have you already said him?
No, but he definitely does not fit this category, no.
Okay, so stinky fighters don't fit into this category, and you're very, very hateful towards them as well, which is kind of interesting. I don't know if I like that. iDrop
does fit this category.
People who've won a cash cup this season?
No.
Okay, so we're super confident. Definitely Canada. Peterbot, yes.
No, Peterbot 100% yes.
Oh wait, yeah, okay. Peterbot, yes, and then Tayson used to.
Tayson at one point would have probably been considered in this category, yeah. But not for a while, to be fair to him.
Not for a while. Have you said Veno? No, we haven't said Veno yet.
Veno, absolutely in this category.
Okay, there's something here.
This is so easy. The comments will be screaming. I feel like this is so easy. This was the easy one. No, but this was the easy one. Of the 3 categories I have, this is like the easy one.
But you also got the 2 stupid ones of the podcast. So like, even now,
yeah, I wasn't much better at guessing last week either.
Yeah.
Harry's always good at these. I'm horrible at these.
Bolts.
Yeah. Bolts does not fit this category.
I'm just naming players. I have literally no connection between all these.
Peterbot,
look at the players who you have absolute yeses for. There's a very easy common denominator amongst all of these people.
Peterbot, Canada, iDrop, Veno. So they're all good fighters. People on... No, they're not editing a release either. No. I'll just keep going. Let's do a Pink.
Pink would fit this category.
Okay.
I still don't know, bro.
Savage as well was at some point. Oh, man.
Yeah, Savage has had to be in this category. Especially doing with Mongrel, yes, he was this category for sure. Actually,
is it the carries? These players have carried?
No. Oh, I mean, no, but that's not the category, you know. I think all of those guys have carried their teams at one point, yeah.
Fair enough. I know
especially when you're in this category, you have to carry your team.
People who play with rookies or something like that?
No. I'm getting to a point where I just want to tell you guys. Like, it's
we need a hint. We need a hint here. Like,
yeah,
you guys have both exhausted your guesses. Okay.
Yeah.
So you were right, Boop, in saying that they're all like good fighters, fraggers, and there's something else, which is what this category is.
Okay.
Fraggers who have switched to IGLs.
No.
Which technically is actually true about all of them, looking at them. But.
People that are considered good fighters and IGLs.
Yes. That is the category. Fragging IGLs was the category.
Yes! That's what he's... Oh, wow. Also, what the fuck did Queasy do to you, man? Like, absolutely not. That's crazy.
But Queasy's just not considered a fragging IGL, you know?
Okay, yeah. So, fraggy IGLs. Oh, God. Get fucked, me. Yes.
I mean, it's hard when you're trying to link Teeny and Peterbot together.
Yeah.
I mean, but I feel like what else would you link them by?
Great question. I had no idea.
No. At one point, I went to like, okay, are they Balkan? No. Are they on edit release? No.
All right.
At one point, I said Canada. I was like, are we looking at a specific race of people here? I don't know.
Last I checked, Tayson didn't used to be Asian, and then
I don't know, bro. I've not seen the me and he heritage or whatever it's called. You know,
okay,
would be a crazy category, Asian Fortnite players. But okay.
Now, if I'm being honest, now I know for a fact you guys are not gonna get the other two, but I want to do one of them still.
Okay. And now I'm in the moment. You know, I'm in the moment.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna try. Should I even bother trying this? Well, you guys,
we got it.
Wow, you've just called us.
Just give us like a slight hint after like 5 guesses, and then we'll probably.
Okay.
Hint helped.
Let's get started. Boop, you guys started.
Peterbot.
Peterbot is in this category.
Okay. Poyo.
Poyo is not in this category.
Hey.
Savage.
Savage is not in this. No, he is in this category.
Mongrel.
Mongrel's definitely not in this category.
Definitely not. Let's go with Tayson.
Tayson is most definitely in this category.
Okay. Mongrel definitely not. Okay.
iDrop.
iDrop is in this category.
Let's do a Vico.
Vico is not in this category.
Okay, that's
the players that play on edit on release.
No, that is not the category.
Mongo plays on release now. Fraud.
Oh, no, wait.
Oh.
Huh?
Oh no, Vico is in this category. Sorry, I'm mistaken.
Okay.
Vico is in this category.
Yeah, Vico is in this category. Okay, I was gonna say because Mongo plays on release now, so that's not updated. If it wasn't, let's go with a Queasy.
Queasy is definitely in this category.
Okay, yes.
Category, okay. Thomas HD.
Thomas is in this category. He is in this category.
It's so hard that there's a Peterbot yes, but the Poyo no. They're like the same people basically in this sense. So there's got to be some distinction there. Let's do a Pink.
Pink is in this category. Yeah, he's in this category.
Right.
It's a lot of yeses.
They have an idea.
Yeah, there has been a lot. You guys are saying a lot of the right people, which is interesting. But I feel like it'll be hard to make the connection still.
Poyo.
No, we already said that.
We just said Poyo.
Oh, sorry. I was also going to guess. Is it people who went to the Invitational?
It is people who went to the Invitational.
Oh, wow.
Reisshub.
The iDrop, I got that one from him because I was trying to figure out what connection he would have had. And then with the NA combined with like EU, so it can't just be like some random fucking tournament. So
I
let's go.
Slipped you the Discord DM so that
No, I'm actually. That's good.
I was looking through. I had to check if Poyo. I did check if Poyo made the Invitational. When I saw it was no, I was like, right, that's my guess.
That's the one. Okay. You know what? Let's do the last one because now I'm actually more confident you'll get the last one.
Okay.
I'm more confident you'll get the last one now.
Okay.
All right, Reese, get us started.
I mean, we always got to start off with a GOAT. So Archie
is not in this category.
Let's go on the other side of the spectrum. Peterbot.
Peterbot is absolutely in this category.
You got a Poyo.
Poyo is absolutely in this category.
Queasy.
Ooh,
he has to think.
He's a master manipulator. He could just be bullshitting us by thinking.
Yeah, true.
He might know the answer off the
This
rip.
would be an easy one if it's what I was thinking, but
this might be bad. I think Queasy's in this category, but it's not. I'm gonna say no.
Maybe.
I don't think Queasy's in this category. But if I'm
Thomas
wrong, I'm
HD.
sorry.
What, is it? Did you say Lecce?
No, he said
Thomas
Thomas
HD.
HD. Thomas HD, I think, is in this category. No, he's not. No, he's not. He's not in this category.
No.
Thomas is not in this category.
Okay, I'm going to try and do a 200 IQ thing here and think you were baiting that, thinking about Thomas. People that have won more than 3 FNCSs.
No.
Fuck, I thought you were double baiting that.
I wasn't trying to bait you. No.
Tayson?
Tayson's not in this category.
Okay.
This is
Definitely
not in
not.
this category. Let's do Vico.
Vico is in this category. Vico definitely is in this category.
People coached by Raz?
No.
Damn, okay.
That's a good one. Let's go with Pink.
Pink is in this category. He actually is in this category.
Actually is, so it's a surprising thing, huh?
Almost insultingly surprising, by the
Yeah,
way.
like,
it's not so surprising, but when I tell you the category, you'll understand why I have to say it like that.
Okay. Bolts.
Bolts isn't in this category.
No for Bolts.
Okay. Rise.
Rise is not in this category.
Okay, no, you didn't have to think about that one.
We not mentioned Mongrel.
Mongrel.
You always got to guess a mongrel in there.
Yeah. Just to test the waters, innit? I believe Mongrel's not in this category. I believe it's
there's a lot of maybes in here.
No, there's not. No, I think almost all the maybes I said, like, no, they're
no's. Okay.
Yeah,
Is
all
it-
the maybes are no's.
Wait, let me think. No, actually, never mind. That was wrong then. Let's go Malabuka.
Malabuka is in this category.
Okay.
Malabuka is in this category. Oh, and by the way, you see with the pink one,
Yeah.
how I said, forget that. He absolutely is in this category. He's
Absolutely is. Okay.
Yeah. Pink is absolutely.
Mustache.
Mustache is not in this category.
Ooh, okay.
Mustache, Queasy. No, that fuck. I was gonna do like FNCS win people that play with FNCS winners, but no. Let's
Pink
go
threw me off
Reason.
Reason is not in this category. Not in this
The
category.
deal?
The deal, not in this category.
Let's do a. Did we say clicks already? Let's do a
No.
clicks.
Fix is not in this category.
Yeah, Pink throwing me off because it's all like FNCS winners outside of that.
Yeah.
Who are the ones? I forgot who you guys have said. Who are the ones
It
in the
was
category?
Peterbot,
Yes is-
Pollo, Vico, Pink, Malabuka.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Peterbot, Pollo, Vico, Pink, Malabuka.
Mate, I'm thinking the connections between these players, and they're all the most wank guesses of all time. People who dropped to the east of the map, chapter 4.
It's not that obscure.
You never know.
But I know.
Let's go with Teeny. I have no good guess.
Teeny's not in this category now.
Is fuck no. I was gonna do something with the earnings, but Pink doesn't fit in that one. Cammy.
Cammy is definitely in this category. Yes,
Definitely,
absolutely
yeah.
in this category.
Absolutely for Cammy.
Absolutely in this category.
Well, Peterbot's not Polish, so. Seti. Is Seti in this?
Seti is in this category.
They both
Absolutely in this category.
Pixie.
Pixie's not in this category. No.
Okay, that's easy.
Is it players who've been coached by BloodX?
It's not players who've been coached by BloodX. Peterbot has not been coached by BloodX. Peterbot and Poyo have not been coached by BloodX.
Is it Players who are considered good at solos.
I think all of them are considered good at solos, but that's not the category.
Players who've won solo cash cups this season?
That's not the category.
Not other winners in there. Trulex.
Trulex is not in this category.
Oh, that's like the high level players, all of them though. That's a
Trulex
thing.
is not in this category.
The pink is throwing me off here.
I would think the pink would allow you to get it, because I know there'll be people in the comments now who will get it because of pink. They will get it.
What does pink and P have in
Pink
common?
fans in the comments, what you're saying.
Yeah, Fortnite knowers.
I have
Who
no
got
good
more
guesses
knowledge?
here.
No, fuck. No, never mind.
You guys, I feel like you guys have enough players to get it. So the fact that you're not
I
getting
know
it,
we do,
is
but
hard. Yeah,
we might
hard,
need a hint here soon.
yeah.
Okay. Or no, I feel like any hint I give will give it away. So your last guess was Trulex, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Trulex is almost in this category.
Almost in this category.
Almost in this category. Yeah, almost.
It's not earnings, because Thomas HD has a lot.
Like players who've played an entire year with their duo?
No. That is not the category.
That's
Should I give you someone in the category?
Sure.
Yeah.
It's like an obvious person in this category.
Epic World's in this category.
Fraudulence?
You're so rude.
What the hell?
I'm sure that'll be on fucking Twitter. I'm sure Clutch will just retweet that 100 times.
Epic will. Why would Pink be in this list? People that have uploaded a YouTube video in the last month.
No. After your next guess, I'll give you another person in this category.
Okay. Scrolling through the list.
People
here.
who've moved regions?
No. I don't know what I was thinking about. Sorry, it's not a category.
That was always the hint.
Miro is in this category.
People about Miro. People that have. Pink hasn't won much in that sense. People that have won 2 tournaments in a row or something like that?
Nope. Someone's at my doorbell. This has happened in the last 2 episodes now.
People that have top 10 at a LAN?
No. It's not the category I'm looking for.
Good question. Oh, well, no, wait, Trulex was out of it.
No, really.
Noah is not in this category. You haven't asked me about one of the GOATs of our game. Bugha is in this category.
Okay, so it's Bugha Epic, Vico Pink, Malabuka, no Queasy, no Thomas, even though they're all both really good players. Peter Poyo.
Mate, Queasy definitely could be in this category.
Yeah, you were hesitant on Queasy. Yeah.
Well, he's similar to Trulex. What I said about Trulex applies to Queasy. He's almost in this category.
Almost in this category.
Yeah. Who are the other ones that are yeses? Read them out. Say them out loud.
Right. We got Peterbot, Poyo, Queasy's a maybe.
Not maybe. He's not a maybe. He's a no.
Pink.
Could.
He's a no.
Could be.
He's a no, but he's a could.
No. Those
Okay.
they're not coulds. It's
okay.
They're not.
Let me go from the top.
But they're close.
Peterbot, Poyo, Vico Pink, Malabuka.
Yeah.
Cammy is an absolutely.
Yes.
Seti's a yes. Epic Whale, Miro, and Bugha.
All of them are absolutely's. There's
People
no
with over 1 million earnings.
No.
Thomas HD would fit into that as well, yeah.
They're not, I said absolutely just to try and help you guys, because I was hoping you'd think more about that person. But all of them are absolutely. It's not like there's any doubt with any of them. But it's
Okay.
I wanted to try and push you in the direction of thinking, but you didn't go in that direction. So I regret it now.
Flixie
is not in this category. He's not in this category.
Like it's like a fucking NPC right now.
I'll give you another. Do you want another person who's in this category?
Give me another name.
Yes.
Give me another name.
Aqua's in this category.
The old goats! Why are they all goats? And I mean,
but Tayson's a no. Like,
yeah, Tayson's a no, and Pink's in there. Why is
Tayson's an obvious no as well?
He said
very
Pink
obvious
Pink would help us in this. Why is Pink in here?
I know the fucking trajectory here, but
Tayson's a very obvious no. Sadly.
Tayson's a very obvious no, sadly.
There's one other name I think I can give you, but if you don't get it with that name, then we might as well wrap this shit up.
People who were at this year's Globals?
No.
Can you tell us like what is it relating to? Is it like placement related? Like I don't know.
There's an obvious trend here. I just can't find the fucking.
There's such an obvious trend here.
I just can't get the one. You know.
All of it's just winners except for Pink. I mean, people with short names or some shit. I don't know.
Okay, I'll give you the last player I think I can give you here before it's just like I might as well just tell you.
We just stink, man.
Cooper is in this category.
Is it my turn or Reese's turn?
You go, mate.
People that won a LAN.
Yes, people have won a major LAN.
I fucking
What's Pink one? What did he win?
Gamers 8. What Gamers? So I was thinking DreamHack.
Oh,
Gamers 8.
Oh my god! Yeah. How are we so dumb?
I knew the LAN route, and I was at, but Pink was throwing me off there. I'm not gonna lie.
Pink won a LAN. Malibu also won a LAN. Yeah,
with Epic Whale.
Yeah, Epic Whale.
Yeah.
I did get the LAN. At least I got the LAN part right. I just couldn't fucking figure out what.
Yeah, that last one triggered it for me. Cooper, yeah, LAN winner.
Yeah.
A 2-1 win for Boop.
Did you get the first one
for Boop?
You didn't get that. I think
you
gave us.
I got the first one and the last
one.
You got the two that were gifted to us.
Yeah, you got the two.
A win's a win, mate. A win's a win. Just because your opponent falls down in the race doesn't mean that you're not running to the ribbon.
Hey, all right. Let's
respect.
Let's go through the super thanks this week. What are these week's super thanks?
You know what? This is my favorite part of every week, and it's not because they're giving us money. It's just I don't know why. This always just makes me laugh.
So give us more money because Reese can be happy.
And then the first one is about me.
Jordy Sosa 2044 says, I want Reisshub's opinion on this because he is known as the OCE hater. As the highest OCE placement is 33rd, resigns. Is there going to be any better placement for OCE? Thoughts on resigns? His trio is Alex and Kazi, and they won 3 out of the 7 sessions that they've played so far, and they look really good.
So, as, of course, a hater, you have to come higher than 33rd in trios, because there's only 33 teams, and there's going to be more than one OCE team. So, in question 2, can they come higher than 33rd? Yes. 32nd is a big ask, though. I mean, 31st, it's doable. It might be tight, but it's doable. Yeah, okay, so on an honest thing, can they do good? I mean, I feel like if given the right scenario, maybe. But like every single time we see an OCE team go to a major region or a major LAN, they just stink it up massively, no matter how much they dominate their own region. Say it like time after time again, small regions just struggle because they physically cannot practice Surge. Like there is no way that you can practice Surge in a small region. Like the Middle East players have said this to me specifically themselves. Like our grands, we can use one strat and be like, you know, like 1,000 above Surge every single game, but you go to a LAN with good players and you don't get those same opportunities for tags. So with Kazi and Aspect, for example, resigns, Alex and Aspect, resigns, fucking hell, Alex and Kazi, there we go, we got there eventually. You know, it's kind of like I see that maybe as a similar story to the way that we saw last year with Kazi and Aspect, where they almost won everything, and then it just comes to globals and they just totally flop. I think Alex has a better chance because of I saw the potential there when he was at global. There's been multiple times where he's done good, like in lowers last year, for example. But Condor Spawn usually eat shit. So there is potential for them to come higher than 33rd. 31st is, you know, the baseline. But higher than that, you know, top 20, top 50%, I would say would be a good placement for an OCE team. I'll be honest.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair. I'm not going to pretend to give you OC analysis. But as we said, they should come higher than 33rd because,
because of maths.
Teams. Yeah. Next one, we got Abyss. Abyss Alive. Abyssal Alive. Hi guys, I love your podcast and varied opinions you all bring to the table about competitive Fortnite. I was wondering what your stance is on what it takes to win an FNCS. I think that consistent teams like Cammy's trio and Yomzo's trio will not win an FNCS this year. This is due to teams with higher fragging ability who take more risks and dominate off spawn fights like Peter and Vico's. Thoughts?
That's a very good question. I'll let someone else answer it before I do because I just rambled for 2 minutes on OCE. So someone else.
I'm the other someone else that didn't read the question. I'd say I think there's an interesting shift that's happened in this game in the last 2 years where we've gone from consistency being key to being to now having teams that requires a certain level of elimination count every single game to win an FNCS. And I fully agree. I think it is very difficult for teams like Cammy and Yomzo, for me right now in this current state of the game, to win an FNCS. They're capable of it. If you look at their consistency to finals, it's incredible. But these teams that get so many kills, they have more room for mistakes, right? When you're playing the Cammy City playstyle and the Yomzo playstyle, you have no room for mistakes. You have to make every single end game. And that could work when people were behind the curve when it comes to consistency in the game in trios. Camiseti and Teak back in the day were very consistent, and other teams weren't as smart as them when it came to being consistent towards endgames. But now you have teams that get crazy consistent placement. Looking at Vico Venoflixi this week in terms of the Casca performance, there wasn't a placement below tops 10, I believe, other than one bad game, and obviously they missed a game. But every single game is at least 10 kills in total. So I agree. I don't think any team, and this is why both regions right now look very skewed towards one side, it's because the format just lends itself way more towards elimination. So I agree. I don't think they have a chance this season, if I'm being honest.
So my take on this is that I've always hated the framing of this because it's like you sort of hinted at towards the end there, Boop. It's not that now consistency isn't important. The difference is those guys are also just consistent. Right? They're consistent and they kill way more. So of course they're gonna, win. The problem is teams like Cammy, right? The skill gap has always been being able to consistently make it to end games. If you could make it to 12 out of 12 end games in FNCS, that was basically the limiting factor of whether you can win an FNCS or not, right? And now the skill gap for teams like the Peterbots and Vicos of the world, who in the past, years ago, might have struggled to be able to do that consistently. Now that they can, it's what I'm saying? It's a different, now where the skill gap comes is their ability to get the kills, right? So it's the game's just evolved to where there's a lot of the better players now are better at playing Fortnite fundamentally well. This is something that Reese banged on about a lot last year when analyzing Pete and Poyo, was they're not just the best players just because they can kill anyone, which they can do, but they're also playing the game good. They're making good decisions in mid and early game based off of sometimes, not always, right, depending on the map, whatever. But for the most part, they're playing the game well, and just as well as a lot of these more quote unquote consistent teams would, to be able to get to end games over and over again. And then the difference makers in the end game, they're just killing everybody, so they're getting way more points because the points are so valuable right now.
Yeah.
So that really is the problem for teams like Cammy and Yomzo. Will they be able to have enough fragging power to actually mitigate that? It was why I was really interested to see, especially in Cammy and Seti's case, who is the third they pick up. Because I think a lot of people who else is like them, right? Can they find anybody else like them that fits into that style that they play? Or would it be actually better to get someone who's just actually fraggy, who can help them just get kills when they need out of their ass? I think in Chari, they've maybe landed in somewhat of a middle point there. Chari's a bit more fraggy than the two of them, but he also does a lot of the simple things right. It's so far. So we'll see how that actually plays out in grand finals. The hope for Cammy and Seti and Yomzo, I think applies more maybe a bit to Cammy and Seti than Yomzo, but I've not watched as much as Yomzo, Mason, and Batman Bugha just yet.
No longer Mason.
Yeah.
They split.
Oh, they split with Mason?
Yeah, they split with Mason.
I was wanting to talk about all the teams that have split up in the next segment, but Yeah, do we know who they're playing with now? Who do they play with?
I think they made it looking for. I think they played this week, and then they made it looking for Tree or Treat, I believe, on Twitter. So.
Okay. Well, yeah, so funny that. Either way, the teams like that, like they sort of either need like kill points to come down so that they're less valuable, or it's like you just pick up a third who can like help make up that difference, because I don't see what happens, what changes now that makes it so that like guys like Peterbot and Vico can't make it to every endgame. It's like back in the day, like Malibu and Mustache were that team, right? That they would kill everybody, but you knew they weren't going to make it to 12 out of 12 endgames. So you had hope.
Yeah.
Like they're going to die enough games to where like, if you can be consistent, you'll beat them in an FNCS. Whereas like now, it's like those types of teams just make it to every endgame now. Like, what do you do?
I think one of the other massive points, I completely agree with all of the things that Leven and Bugha said here, but I also think one of the things that we look at in terms of winning an FNCS is, we were sitting here talking about, Cammy and Seti's playstyle used to be so good and they had a good chance at winning all the time, but like the entire conversation that used to revolve around them as a team was that their fragging power was always lacking, and it was like in order to win, they did have to be perfect. And for everything to be, and like even when other players weren't able to get to endgame so frequently, and now it's like you have kind of the opposite where you look at some of their tournaments and they are struggling to make it to endgame because of fragging power a lot of the time, and now other teams are super able to make it there. So it's just basically the teams who can make it to Grand and win an FNCS right now are basically the teams who could just do everything well. I think that's like the best summary of it right now. It's like you have to be able to be smart, you have to be able to fight, you have to have a good drop spot, good plans, good positioning, all this kind of stuff. It's like you just have to be good at everything right now. You can't really have like a gaping hole like I see like maybe a Cammy Seti Chari have in their fighting and fragging ability. And maybe grand finals if you want to come top 5. I'm not saying Cammy Seti Chari can't come top 5 or do super well in like a super stack tournament like that. But I just think based on what we've seen so far, everything has to align perfectly for them to do really well, which is not a spot you want to be in.
It also used to be seen as a weakness to have like 3 good fighters in a team. It's no longer the case. I think the game's evolved to a point where like you actually have to have some sort of fragging ability in your trio. And I know Cammy Seti and Hoi have evolved a little bit. They have played a little bit more aggressive. They are getting more kills, but it's just when another team is just making top 5s with 15 kills every game, you're just not closing that gap, which is why like all these points total are just so exaggerated now. It's like, oh wow, they're dominating, but yeah, they're just getting so many kills. You can't compare to it right now. And I think a lot of the mediocre trios right now in each region, their weaknesses are being exposed because they just don't have the consistency or the fragging power. So like now we just have the superstars dominating everything.
I think actually a point I'd want to add on that is even for average players, right? Like say if you're playing like the low Div 3 or whatever, right? You could play super consistently and get top 3s, top 2s and all that kind of stuff. And then you look at the teams who are like top of the leaderboard and they're just banging 20, 30 bombs or even like 10, 15 kill games every single time. And they're so far ahead. And it's like, you can't just be like slow and consistent. You have to actually be able to frag and do something special now to do well in really any form of tournament.
Yeah, that's that. On to the next, our good friend of the show, manager of the Twitter account, Clutch.
Epic Whale Hater.
Number one Epic Whale Hater. He's taken a mantle from me. I sort of retired my Epic Whale Hater a bit. Make sure this $5 makes its way into Harry's pocket for standing up to Epic Whale number 11 all time. We'll make sure. If Harry would actually show up to a show, maybe. But,
yeah, he's not getting paid for today.
That's the problem.
This donation means a lot for Clut to be giving out money because that guy's jobless. So
that guy's stingy, jobless, broke. The guy don't got no money to be handing out.
Like he's not eating this week because of this donation, and Harry will appreciate it.
To him. That again reinforces the number one Epic Whale hater. He's willing to pay money to hate on Epic Whale.
To go into poverty and debt for this €5. Yeah, exactly.
That's crazy. And then number one this week, AL. More Epic Whale discourse. Harry scoffs at Epic Whale. So we got the other side of the coin now. Harry scoffs at Epic Whale's place on the list, then proceeds to talk about how important lands and longevity are in his perception. Meanwhile, Epic's top 3 in World Cup forever ago wins a 1 million land in 2022 and finished top 10 in 2 out of the 4 FNCSs in 2024. Make it make sense.
See, because you gave more money, I agree with you. Club before he only gave €5. This guy gave 10, man. Like, I agree. Honestly, I didn't listen to this part of the podcast yet when walking my dog, so I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, let's do like a real. I'll do a serious analysis. We love Epic Whale, by the way. Just for obviously we're memeing here, but the reality is he did well ages ago, and a huge part of last week's podcast. One of my points was like I value older placements less if your current placements aren't up to standard, because getting good when everyone else wasn't good, to me personally, I don't find that as impressive as when the whole level playing field of everyone has gotten really high. Like the skill gap right now is way higher. So I think it's more impressive to be like Peterbot now than it was to be Bugha in 2019, if that makes sense. So as the skill has gone up and as he moved to a harder region, like moving away from NA West to get onto Central, like all the Central placements have been pretty middling. Like there was a top 4 with clicks in Chapter 5 Season 1. But outside of that, like very minimal. I don't think there's been another top 5 outside of that in terms of things. And then talking about like the LAN, sure, he's maybe a really good LAN player, and that would be sick. But at Invitational, he placed 27th, which is not good. 27th in globals he's actually come 27th in every single globals or Invitational that I've looked at it. And it was in lower bracket 27th he placed in the other year. So like,
yeah, they didn't
sure,
make
he's a fantastic player, and he did really well back then. And I'm sure now that NAS back, I've already seen him at top of the leaderboards popping
farming more stats.
Farming stats. Probably going to get an FNCS win or 2 this year, and people are going to, man, he's back. But it's the same story of like, he's done good against not great players or not great for their time or their region, but up against the best. He, outside of that one EWC LAN, like he's just not really been phenomenal. And that LAN also was a bit mickey if you look at some of the players there. But anyway.
So and this is obviously aimed at Harry. And I feel like part of like his message from what he's saying is he feels like Harry was being a bit hypocritical, right?
Yeah.
Even though I don't stand with Harry on like how much he values like longevity and all that stuff, because again, I've sort of changed how I feel about that stuff. Epic World being 11 on the list for me was too high. And for a lot of the reasons Reisshub just listed. One, when you're just looking at like who have been the best Fortnite players, like there's literally never been a time when Epic World was considered like individually like the best at almost anything. It's funny because obviously this whole comp war stuff has made me like go back and look at previous years, right? And so I actually went back and looked at some of the previous years when people were voting for like NA West players and NA players as a whole. And guess which name was the one popping up most of the time? Arkham. It was always Arkham. Yeah. From the end, it's not just like it's from the EE bias people. You go back and look, and I'd be happy to go back and show all these names of the people who were respecting the NA names, NA people, coaches, whatever. They were all saying Arkham. So even when you look at his dominance within his region, right, a lot of that success came down to Arkham. And Epic was good as well. I'm not trying to fully discredit that, right? Obviously, he was good. Like, I'm not going to lie about that. He was very good. But then when you're looking at the things you listed out here, right? Top 3 in World Cup. Yes, he was top 3 in World Cup. But saying top 3 in World Cup doesn't work and hit the same way as like saying Bugha win, because Bugha's win was one so impressive because yes, it was World Cup. It was the first of his kind, blah, blah, blah. But he actually just wiped the floor with everyone. Like the point disparity between him and second was like insane, especially when you consider how like low the points were because of how they used to do the point format back then. Like Bugha had 59 points, Sam had 33 in second. Bugha almost had double second place. So like when people are like, even me as someone who like doesn't value that stuff as much as maybe some other people do, you can't like even deny with like someone like Bugha where it's like, well, he actually just smoked the tournament. Like, you know what I mean? It's not even close. Epic Will came third with 32 points, which was very impressive. He did very well. Everyone in that.
May I interject slightly? Sorry, just this goes back to what we said earlier about when Boop said second is basically first. In this, third is absolutely nowhere near first.
Right.
Slightly different.
Sorry, continue.
And I think everybody in that sort of like top 8 did very well in World Cup. All of them had great moments in different games and very impactful. And of course, it was a legendary tournament. But again, it's just like, it's not the same. Like, and I remember even at the time, this was actually way back when I first started making content, I had to make a video. And so I think it's actually still on this Leven Network channel. So you can scroll down and watch it. I had to make a video explaining to people, like, you need to stop overreacting to World Cup results, because just because somebody placed like 5th in World Cup doesn't mean they're like the 5th best player in the world now. This was a 6-game tournament. There was flaws in the tournament. We can analyze and sit here and talk about all these things. And I remember that because at the time, like, obviously, you know, it was fair to say Bugha was the best because his performance was so dominant. But there was people who were like overreacting to certain stuff in duos where I was like, no, like it doesn't match with everything else we've seen this year. Same would apply to Epic One third. So cool. That's the World Cup thing. And it's just 2019, we're in 2025 now. Wins the 1 million land in 2022. Yes, he won. It was very impressive because he was playing with Malabuka. But then you have to contextualize the fact that Malabuka was IGLing this team in English. It was like his first time playing with somebody not speaking in Russian, and he IGL'd the guy to the win. Epic World did well than that, right? But you look at that tournament, for me, I was way more impressed with Malabuka when it comes to that win than I was with Epic World. Some people might say that's unfair. Again, each their own opinion. And then the finishing top 10 in 2 out of the 4 FNtasias in 2024. I mean, yeah, like that's cool. I think that was good. But like sort of Reese sort of hinted at, like you look at the overall trajectory of his placements, when you look at the actual performances when he was playing with certain people, obviously he had that run of clicks in the year before, which clicks fans will tell you all about that. Then in 2024, again, these aren't GOAT level performance. These aren't performances that like inspire you to put him in the top 10 of all time, especially when then you compare him to the players who are in that list. And a lot of those guys at some point were just the best player in the world or considered the best player in the world. Like he's never been anywhere near that. And I don't think Ebigwell would say he's been that at any point. Like, yeah, I don't know. I feel like people think like it's hating on Epic World. It's not. It's just like
absolutely not.
It's not hating on Epic World. Like I love Epic. Epic World's one of the nicest people I've met in Fortnite. And I feel bad sometimes when I'm like talking like this. Do you know what I mean? Like I feel like I'm just shitting him. I'm not shitting. I just don't think it's the same. I don't think it's like fair to like compare him to people who are just obviously better than him. In my opinion, like I don't know. He's got a lot of great placements. He's had a legendary career. He's made a bunch of money, more money than I'll ever make from Fortnite. But he's not one of the top 10 greatest players of all time.
I think you summarized that extremely well and extremely respectfully, because we do love Epic Whale. I've started this analysis off by saying that as well, you know. I used to VOD review all of those NA West games all the way back then, and obviously NA West was a bit mickey, but I loved watching him play and a lot of others. It's just that it's not. When you're putting him that high in all time, it's just we're going to disagree with it.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. I kind of wanted to talk a bit about FNCS because I missed it. I was on holiday last week, so I've missed all of FNCS last week. And there were so many new trios that I kind of wanted to have a good segment about it. Like, there's so many good new trios. Even with that being said, the same old suspects won. Vico, Veno, Flixie won. Again, with a lesser game. They played 5 games. Because I think, was it Flixie that crashed, or was it Vico?
Flixie was stuck in the lobby loading screen. He restarted his game and couldn't get in time.
Yeah, and then same old suspects on NA win. Peter, Hoyo, Ritual. But it was... it was still interesting. And I'm going to go back and watch a lot of the games myself because there was so many new teams I want to watch. Like seeing Vidil in his first tournament there, coming second with Sphinx and Cooper. Boy, I would love to spend some time bragging about that one. But we're also at 2 hours now, and I kind of need to go, so we're not really going to get to it.
Realistically, we'll have the same conversation next week because they're both winning next week again. So it'll be fun.
We're also not having the same conversation next week because next week is the award show.
The week after.
We'll be back to our regular scheduled programming when it comes to talking about FNCS.
They've won 3 tournaments in a row by then.
Yeah. And we are getting closer to the actual next stage of the divisional or of FNCS, right? From the divisional stage to the major stage. So as we get closer to the major stage, we'll start to ramp things up a bit. But unless there was anything in particular big that you guys wanted to talk about FNCS, then yeah.
There was a small thing I wanted to mention. I thought it was a very interesting thing about the earnings of players this year or this season that I wanted to mention really quickly. So I had a quick little guessing game that we can have to finish off. And basically it's sort of stole it from what Leven had the other week. But what can you buy with their earnings this season? I will give you the value of the item as well. So, Vico this season, can you buy a 2025 Nissan Rogue valued at $29,230 with Vico's earnings this season only?
Yes.
No. Did you say $200,000?
No,
$29,000.
$29,230. Can you buy it with Vico's earnings?
Surely,
Absolutely, yes.
Yes, you can. Vico has made $29,900 this season already.
In a month
Malabuka.
with a 2-week break.
Yeah, with a 2-week break. Yeah, basically in a month, essentially, right? All right, Malabuka. Can you buy with Malabuka's earnings Chino's earnings with $17,185?
Chino's complete earnings?
Yep, that's his complete earnings. $17,185 what Chino has made. Can you buy that with Malabuka's earnings?
I want to say no. Like, I feel like it's close.
I'm going to say no.
I want to say no. Yeah, I want to say no.
It is close. Malabuka has made $16,650 in earnings this season. Peterbot's earnings this season. Can you buy yourself an Ice Bath Elevate Sterling White bathtub ice bath jacuzzi with the value of $20,300?
I'm going to
say yes. Yeah, I'm going to say yes, you can.
You cannot. Peterbot in NA only, that might be more relevant because he actually just earned an AU, I just realized. He's made $20,200 in NA so far. So that's actually the most surprising thing here because NA's actually prize pool is very stinky. And I wish that this... Yeah, and I wish this was last week because Peterbot actually, before this week, made less money than Malabuka had last week. So... And now comes to our last person here is Cami FN. Can you buy yourself a Rolex Datejust 41-inch with a green dial with the value of $15,500 with Cami's earnings this season?
Yes.
Did you just say 41-inch?
Yes, 48.
That's like
the dial size.
Yeah. 48.
He doesn't know about watches.
I don't know about watches.
What a 41-inch.
41. Okay. Yeah. Anyway. No.
I'm going to say yes.
He can. Cami's made $16,420 in his own region.
Trio placements aren't like special, but then he won the Solo Cash Cup.
Yeah.
Which made me think he must have enough.
Yes.
The interesting part about this is that before this week that Peterbot won Trio Cash Cup, he had less earned than Malabuka and Cami.
That's crazy.
Because he won $5,000, before this week he would have $5,200, and then Cami only made $220 this week, essentially. So, the pricing here is insane. So Vico has $29,900 earned. He's the number one earner of this season, excluding all multiple regions that he's played. Second is Peterbot with $20,200, and then is Malabuka with $16,650, and Cami with $16,420. So people are eating good this season. As I thought that was an interesting note because how much money these people are making? They're dominating. They're just dominating.
We didn't have this conversation, but yeah, with like the NA pool being lesser. If you're Peterbot, is it just worth to actually play in EU? Because I reckon they'd still win everything, and then he's just making more money.
Yeah. So
they'll get try hard in solos.
Yeah.
Peterbot's won 3 in a row, right? Vico hasn't won 3 in a row. So Vico's won 7.5k, 7.5k, 4.8 from a second, and then he got 2 second places in Solo Cash Cup as well, right? So
Pete, Ritual, and Cold. Come to EU. There's more money here. This is where the money's at. Come here. We're welcoming you with open arms. Come, please.
If you dare.
If you dare, but you won't. I know you won't, Pete. You're scared.
You can't handle it.
Yeah. You can't handle it, Pete. You can't handle it. Please come. My EU broadcast will be very boring without you guys, please. All right. Thank you guys for listening. As always, next week we'll have the award show. And then we'll be back to regular programming after that. We appreciate you all for hanging out and listening as always. Thank you to all the people on Spotify. I know we don't read the Spotify comments anymore because we've sold our souls and we only read people who pay for comments. But I still read all the Spotify comments for the people who don't know. So yeah, appreciate you guys on Spotify listening and on Apple Podcasts if you listen there. And of course, our YouTube viewers, our lovely YouTube viewers. Thank you for all the support. And yeah, we'll see you guys all next week.
Bye.
Ba-da-doom.
Nice